afternoon and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Starbase Weekly, the RGV aerial deep dive into images he captured from the ground and air in Boca Chica, Texas. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. To the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
Buddy, welcome back to another episode of Starbase Weekly. This is episode 52, and my name is Mauricio. I'll pass this along to Indian Star.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the episode. We're excited to have you here. Let me go ahead and pass it to our special guest, Dave.
And good afternoon, good day, everybody. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to pass it over to our full-time host, Zach.
Well, hello, everybody. I would say Indy may be more full-time than I am some days, so I appreciate that, though. And thank you all for joining us today, and thanks, Dave, for being with us as well. We may potentially have Jax with us a little bit later, but we will see how that goes. But in the meantime, thank you all for joining us, and I wanted to start the show off with some awesome footage from Mauricio flying over, well, not over Starbase, I believe. This is on the way to South Padre Island. So this is Mauricio gaining altitude before he can turn towards the launch site. But Mauricio, I've been always wondering, do you ever use this iPad holder in the side of the...
Oh, no, that's, I've been thinking about getting ForeFlight, which is an app that's used for aviation, and I don't really need it at this point because I already know the way pretty good. And I guess you could probably use it for other purposes as well, but it's pretty much the same flight every single time we go out there. And this particular time we're at, it looks like I'm looking at the altimeter, but it's I could barely see it, but I think we're closing in on 7,000 feet. And this is probably the moment that I figured out. This is an interesting flyover because...
Which one's the altimeter?
The one at the bottom, at the middle one. Yeah, the middle one there on the left. There you go. And yeah, we're already surpassed 7,000, and we missed... It's not interesting, but we missed the static fire by like 10 minutes. We weren't at the altitude yet, so I was kind of bummed out about that. But and
can you see it from here though?
You can see like a little...
See the dots right there?
Yeah.
Hold on, let's back this up and see if we can see more of that. It would be way over here, right? Or no, closer to up here. Oh, I think I see it right there.
There it is.
Oh wait, that's something on the screen or on your windshield.
Oh, but I could definitely see the plume of dust as it was picked up. And
so were you like, wait, was it before this when that happened then?
I think a little bit after that.
Oh, so we might be able to actually see it if we go a little bit further?
Yes. You can actually see me pointing at the horizon. At this point, it already happened. I think once we're over the water,
okay, hold on,
static fire
a little bit. Hopefully we can see that. I know it's really, really far away, but it's still awesome just to see this angle. And one thing I was thinking about was it'd be really cool if you could use that iPad to like connect directly to your camera and then like mount the camera on the outside of the plane and then just remote control it. You're just sitting there, warm hands, kind of like a video game. Just
that would be kind of crazy though. But yeah, you would need like some type of motorized gimbal that withstands the winds at those speeds and all that. And yeah, it's I'd rather do it handheld. It's a little bit more... I have some gloves, so I guess I already got used to the cold. So it's not that big of a deal at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could use it for like reviewing your images as you're taking them. So like you know what it's looking like as you're going. But
I used to do that. I used to review the images while I was in flight, but I stopped doing that just because of how much extra time it takes to. I'd rather fill up the SD card and just get back home and see what I got. It's always better to have more shots than not as many.
Right.
That's why if you see I talked about this before, but I fill up the whole SD card pretty much 120 gigabytes of photos. At this particular time, I actually filled up an SD card and then I used another SD card. So yeah, it was closer to about 125 this particular time.
I think we're nearing the water now. So I want to pause for 1 second once it gets back up, just so I can make sure we're looking in the right spot. So the launch site is over here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I'm looking in the right spot.
I don't think I figured out the exact moment it happened because the GoPro does not have the best resolution. But I think at this point, I already know that I missed the
You
static
already
fire.
missed it. Okay.
Yeah, and we don't get signal up there, so it's really difficult. We've been trying to get this shot, and obviously, I know there's a lot of concerns with, are you allowed to go up there when there's static fires, or is it even safe? And my thought is, I wouldn't per se go directly above the site, and I, I would probably be over the build site to try and get that shot, try and be away from everything. But yeah, it puts us pretty far away if you do the Pythagorean theorem. You get the distance from the launch site to the build site, and we're above the build site, and we're actually further away. If you put us at 10,500 feet, we're actually about like a half a mile further away from the build site, from the ground level. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yeah, it does. So
Yeah, because go ahead.
Is this a GoPro on your helmet right now?
On my hat, yeah, I have
Your hat?
a
Okay.
GoPro on the hat.
I haven't seen that yet.
But
Is that
yeah,
new?
it's a little clip. It just clips on. It just clips
Okay.
on. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's about it. I mean, that's about it. Hopefully, everybody liked the little behind the scenes there, and I don't know if you want to move to Massey's now.
I know I definitely appreciated it. Yeah, sure. We will hop into the show. So again, thanks to everybody who joined us. Before I swap over to the Massey site, if everybody could do us a favor and hit that like button since you just got in here, we would appreciate you guys. And with that, let's go ahead and swap over to Massey's. So we have always like to start off with the drone flyover. But actually, you know what? I just realized I'm going to pause this one because this is actually cheating a little bit because it's putting us ahead of the first flyover that you did. So let's start off with that instead. And let me swap this over actually, and then we'll come back to that. So these are the images from. I can't tell if these are the ground or the most recent ones. So let's start off with the ones from the flyover. And as you all can see, there have been some pretty decent updates at the Massey site. There's a lot of stuff going on down here. So for one, I don't even know where. I'll let somebody else choose. Where do you guys want to start off at? Dave, how about you?
Let's
You
just
notice
start
here?
out. Let's start out right the bottom right-hand corner with the demolition going on.
Hey, Zach. Oh, there we go. You zoomed in. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so it looks like we got this house being demolished right now. And so this was I want to say I've actually never been to the gun range, so I can't really say what they used
That
this
was
building for.
that was the shop.
Okay, right. Yeah, so it looks like they were about halfway through demolishing it at this point. I'm still on the fence about this being used for the actual mission control room, but I mean, with the additional stuff that's around here, I think it kind of makes sense. And now with them having demolished this building, like having a separate um, facility here makes sense. But to me, I still think this is maybe just be like a break room. You know what I mean? Like a break room for everybody who's working out here.
Actually, I think that might just be construction superintendent office.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just I don't know. I'll wait for Thomas to come back and we can argue this point again. But I don't know. I'm going to need to see some solid proof that they would actually use this for a mission control room. It just seems way too small, and it's smaller than the actual mission control room at Starbase. So I would imagine they would want as many people observing as possible. So if this is the only people who are going to be anywhere near the facility controlling in the ops room for the actual launch, it just seems a little off to me. So I think this may just be a construction trailer, as Dave said. But hopefully SpaceX will actually tell us a little bit in the near future once they get their actual launch license. What their actual plan is. So maybe we may just have to see on the actual day of that launch. They'll probably give us some images inside of the mission control room. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So yeah, we have that house being demolished. We have actually, I'm gonna go a little bit forward because we can see now, as of yesterday, this is what that house now looks like. And this is taken with the drone, so it's actually crazy because you get slightly better images from 10,000 feet with your nice camera than with the drone. It's like, yeah, I don't know, what, 200, 300 feet above the ground. But yeah, this is they're moving pretty quick to demolish this. Were you about to say something, Mauricio?
Oh yeah, the drone camera, it's lower resolution too, so the files are a lot smaller, and the at 10,500 feet, the raw files, they have so much information to extract data from. So
Right.
but yeah, a lot of changes at Massey's.
Well, and you've also got a much bigger lens on your aerial camera.
Yeah, that too.
So I'm going to go back over to the previous images, and now we can see from a little bit higher up. They have also started pouring this little concrete pad here, so I don't think this was here last week. And we also, actually, now that I think about it, I wanted to actually compare images from the previous week so that we can actually be able to see what things have and haven't changed. So let's go ahead and look at last week just to be. So this is last week. You can see what that area looks like, and there was not that concrete pad over there as it is this week. So coming back to.
Well, and while you're here, we've got 4 sets of steel beams by those 3 tanks. So there's like 4 clumps of them in this picture. Let's go to the next picture.
Yeah, so these are you talking about these over here?
Yep.
Yeah, so we have all of these, and we believe that these are most likely steel for the Star Factory. So when we go looking at this week, oops, this one's not going to show that well enough. Let me go for this image, actually. You can see that now they have this concrete pad there, which wasn't there before. And they also, as Dave said, have slowly been removing some of this. Well, actually, you can kind of see that this pile looks relatively similar, I would say, to the previous.
Except for the pile by the end of the tanks, I think they lost a couple.
This one right here?
The diagonal pile,
These,
yeah.
Oh, sorry. These right here?
Yep. Yep, I think that one may be shrinking.
Okay, let's check. Yeah, just a little bit. And when we go to this current week, a few days later when Mauricio did his next flyover, you can actually see, I'm going to swap over to this image right here. This pile is getting reduced even further. So we actually weren't sure if they were bringing steel in or taking it away. But we were able to get a better idea of what they're doing in the actual video. So you can see that they're up here in the top corner loading those onto the truck and not taking them away. This is actually super busy out here. It's kind of this is one really good thing about viewing the video versus just images. You can kind of see just how much they're doing out here. So you got all this dirt that they're this junk dirt that they're throwing in these trucks and taking away. It almost looks like they're racing. Like,
I count 8 dump trucks there.
yeah. And the funny thing is, I feel like these guys are all waiting for each other so they can leave at the same time. Because you only have like 2 what's the right word for these?
Excavators.
Excavators. Yeah, you only have 2 excavators adding dirt into these trucks, so that's just funny seeing them all leave at the same time. And wow, here's another one coming in right now too. So, and on the bottom right corner, you can see them filling up this other truck with the junk from the house that they're demolishing. And in the center of the image, you can see that Grover is up here with, oh man, 6 point booster 6.1. No, this is the new one, right? This is the see, this is what Jax gets here for not being here. I'm making stuff up. I'm not really sure which.
I think
test
this
article
is 26.1.
26.1. Okay. So we have 26.1, which appears to be having some pipework installed on the top of it. I'm assuming that's like for the vent manifold that don't they normally put a tank on top of it once they have this once they have the cap on?
It depends on what they're doing. They've had a tank. They've just had the vent. It's been different for different tests.
Yeah. So it looks like the cap will probably go on next. They got the SPMT just sitting there waiting for them to remove that or to lift it up on top. And as we mentioned before, you can see the telehandler down here lifting up Star Factory pieces, essentially loading them onto the truck, and then we believe they moved them near the existing Star Factory. Man, this is crazy. Look, you got all this work happening on the bottom left as well too, with them adding the road base. It just never stops out here, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is what the launch pad looked like 2 years ago.
Right. This is the most excitement that we get these days. You can also see in the middle over here that they're in the process of removing that berm.
Well,
So
hopefully there's no lead flying around anymore, so you don't need it.
Yeah, I'm gonna back up or start over again so we can see them. Yeah, they're in the back over here removing that berm. So I believe they'll probably remove the whole thing, and then this will look kind of crazy once all of that stuff in the middle is gone. Because now it won't be just 2 sides of this land being divided in half, and you're like, okay, which side is the Raptor stuff going to go on? It could pretty much go anywhere at that point because it's a much larger space once that this middle area is removed. So I'm assuming by the time we reach next week that okay, that makes sense. Now I know why there was so many trucks leaving at the same time, because you got him loading them up right here. You got these 2 loading over there. So at least 3 excavators loading right now. I don't see a 4th one. Oh, there's a 4th one back here just lifting up regular gravel, it looks like. So,
well, if you look on the top, the red truck is dumping. So we've got one set of trucks supplying dirt and another set of trucks removing dirt.
giveth and taketh away.
Well, okay. Here's the next crow bit. How much of this area is going to end up being solid concrete in 6 months?
Oh, most of it, I would say. I'm interested to see what they put down here. This actually looks like they may put a permanent facility or a permanent building to replace what they're taking down here. So I think they'll probably expand this pad out as well too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, or this could just be the parking lot for whatever goes right here. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've been expecting them to pour concrete in this area for a long time, and they still haven't done that. But the other thing, when you look back here on this side, you can see that they are pouring the base for, we believe, 3 more tanks. So we have 1, 2, 3 tanks back here, and Dave was mentioning that because this tank is longer, and let me actually get another image of that from the side. So because that tank is longer than the others, which you can see a little bit better here, we believe that they may actually use that third base for that longer tank. So, oh man, lost right here. Actually, let's look at it from the other side because that'll makes a little bit more sense for us. So, yeah, you can see one base being poured right here, and I'm guessing they're going to duplicate that over here, 2 pads, and then you'll have 2 more right here. So the longer tank and then 2 shorter ones. I always find it interesting the way they. If I was a project manager here, I would have a hard time because I have too much OCD of things being perfect. You know, like this right here looks nice. On this side, you're going to have one random longer tank, except more than likely they're all going to be storing. So if these are all methane, for example, these will probably all be liquid oxygen.
Well, I think at this point, most of those are LN2.
This is true, but the tanks that were delivered to Sanchez all started off as LN2 tanks as well, and they converted one of them over to liquid oxygen. So it is possible that you can change over to another substance because when they transport these in general, they usually fill them up with nitrogens, no matter what goes in them, right? So,
Yep. And while we're on this picture, let's talk about this cement truck, bottom center.
What's he doing? Pouring a retaining wall?
Well, that was a big debate last night when we were show and telling this. It looks like, yes, they have dug a trench, scraped the top of the earth, dug a trench, and they're filling the bottom of the trench with a layer of concrete. And the debate was whether there's any rebar being stuck in it to anchor a wall, or if it's just a retaining wall base that may not need to be anchored. But it looks like, at least for now, it's got fixed length, because if you look at the 2 ends of this trench, there are red safety fences blocking both ends. But this may be a retaining wall, maybe to bring the grade level up to level. It could be a flood wall to keep leaking tanks from getting into off the property. We don't know. But they're definitely a narrow trench with flat earth on either side of it.
Yeah, I was looking. Oh, so this is there conduit down here?
I don't think so. It looks like it's just concrete.
But isn't this red concrete down here?
No, I think that's red dirt. I think what you have there is they bladed the earth flat, and then they dug a trench through the middle of the blade zone.
That makes sense.
Because if you look at it, that was the real confusion last night. Is there were people thinking there were 2 trenches, but it looks to me like they just bladed the earth, and then and got a flat surface, and then cut the trench through that
Right.
flat surface.
So that it would all be the same depth, essentially.
Yeah, whatever their finished grade was supposed to be, so the wall would be at a uniform depth underground.
Well, there's your blade, and then there's your.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it a little better on this side, the way that he's digging through there. Interesting.
So, so there's quite a few questions regarding it's becoming regarding if it's going to be a Raptor testing facility or not. But right now we're leaning more towards it's more than likely, right, that this is what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's multiple things. So you have, man, this is a really awesome picture. So for one, you have right now it's functioning as a test facility for flight test structures, essentially. So I don't personally expect them to never need to do that again, right? So like, they could do both things here. So This is something that Jackson and I are working on as well, just like comparing this to the Falcon 9 program. So I believe, most of the structural tests for Falcon 9 happened at McGregor. So it seems like this can be multi-purposed, this lot. And I mean, it's very large. So, obviously, if you are just doing structural tests right here and all the rest of it is meant for an actual, um, engine test facility and possibly even a maintenance facility for engines, that makes a lot of sense to me for it to have multiple purposes here. This is going to look really interesting, though. From these aerial views, you can actually see those. I don't believe they've actually poured the full pad here. I think this is just a base pad down there, and they still need to put the actual frame out the other pad. Did they do that in the?
Yeah, I think the later picture has concrete all the way across that.
Hold on, this is a good one. So they've started to frame it out, but they haven't finished. Whoa, look how tall that is. Are they really going up that high?
Well, I mean, those are going to be piers that the legs are going to sit on. So, I mean, you can see the two that are framed in on the small pad on the right.
Yeah, but those don't look like they line up. Hold on.
I think they do. The two on the right and the two top ones on the left, I think, line up.
Is this a drone shot? No, this is not a drone shot. It's hard to see. I don't think we have one looking straight down it to see if they line up. It's probably about the best that we have. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like a weird corner thing they have going on right there.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the corner. I'm talking about the two rebar piers in the middle.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about how tall these corner things are. For some reason, it looks like they're actually going to add another layer around it, but I would think that they would just do the whole thing in without needing a second layer. You know what I mean?
For all I know, they had 4x8 forms, and they had to turn two of them on end to make the right width.
Well, that would make sense.
Because if I was lazy and I wasn't going to cut my form in half, I would do something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. Let's go with that. Did we have any more questions, Mauricio or Indy, from this area?
Yes, actually. Justin IMO wants to know if that's some kind of rack on the side of the new pad.
Yes, there is a material storage rack already being filled in. The concrete's barely dry, and they're already storing stuff there.
Yeah. Was this? I think this rack may have actually came from up here.
I think at one point there was a rack up by that tent. Yes, or there's one up there too. Yeah, there's two up there actually. There's one there and there's one there.
Was there maybe a third one up here? I don't see.
I don't know if there was a third one. They had more of those over at the build site.
Oh, well, you know what? I got some past images that we can compare to really quick and just check that out. Let me swap over.
I mean, the good news for them is industrial racking like that is available like anywhere.
Yeah, so there was 2 rows back here. And oh wait, I think maybe there still are 2 rows. I can't really. Sorry, I'm a little bit trying to switch back to this other image really quick. Sorry about that. Okay, I was wrong. There are still 2 rows there.
Yeah, but there were like lots of this over by the shipping and receiving area at the build site, so they could easily have more hanging around.
Right. Well, I think that's almost about all the exciting things that we have here, right? Oh, well, I did want to talk about this over here. And sorry, Andy, there's probably more questions as well, too, huh?
A couple more.
Go ahead.
Baruda wants to know, is Massey supposed to be a Raptor testing facility? Or isn't it supposed to be?
Yeah, I think we've touched on that one a little bit. That's what we know so far. I mean, we haven't really seen anything saying anything different than that. So it is a little bit speculation to some degree, but that was originally what was planned for this site.
And then Todd Burnell wants to know, can they store methane and oxygen so closely together?
Well, at the launch site, they tried to, and they were like less than 10 meters away from each other in giant vertical tanks that could be pierced by shrapnel if they didn't have a taller berm. Yeah, I think that they would do that, and I'm pretty sure that's what they do at uh, McGregor. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that all the commodities are stored pretty close to each other.
I mean, all they have to do is have a safety wall between the two of them.
This almost looks like a individual distribution manifolds for test stations.
I mean, I'm wondering if it's that or if that's going to get some pumps.
I need a side image of it. Let's go to a new one.
There is a question from somebody in the chat. They're asking, is Massey's in a nature preserve?
No.
No.
No, it's an area of private property. The horseshoe river bend around it is the Massey's property limit, but according to Thomas, some of the other property outside there is already owned by SpaceX also, in addition to other private landowners.
Man, this is going to be, if when it is finished, as far as being a Raptor facility, especially once they get all this cleaned up, just looking like a little island in the middle of nowhere is going to look really cool.
So
It's almost a good spot for a launch site. Go ahead.
Sorry, a couple more questions have come in while you guys are still showing Massey's. Justin, IMO asks, tanks and fire separate equals no shutdown?
What does he mean? No shutdown for testing?
I guess road closures.
Well, if you've ever seen any of the videos of the McGregor test site, there is often cars driving in front of the camera. So, I mean, those cars are closer to the actual test stand than you can possibly get here. So I don't think no matter what, they would never need a road closure to do testing here. It's just engine testing.
It's a pretty long road, anyways, leading up to Highway 4. So
yeah, and at this point, we would not expect them to be doing more than one engine at a time, so it's pretty contained.
It would be nice if they would start doing multiple engines at a time, but I doubt that would happen. Well,
but that would be more of a Starship or a booster test, not an individual engine test.
Right. Yeah. And I'm also thinking about direction as far as like which direction they would do this in. It kind of makes sense to go this direction. They would probably have to clear all of this back here in order to do that. But if you are firing in either of these directions, you do run the risk of flames passing over there, even though they do use water deluge during those tests. But
the bigger issue is that big white streak there is the U.S.-Mexico border.
One thing that Thomas did bring up, and it could be likely, but we're probably gonna have to follow up on this, is if they buy some of the land that surrounds Massey's, so that they can send out the plume that way, or divert it that particular direction, so basically the adjacent properties. But I'm not sure who owns it, or if it's for sale, or if they would want to buy that in the first place.
I thought Thomas said they already had bought some random plats of land out there. I don't know if they had the ones right up against the Oxbow, but they have been buying some property out in all that scrub land.
Yeah, I'm going to start looking out for some more structural items that could be related to either a vertical or horizontal testing. I feel like if we've seen more stuff that looks like it's for a horizontal test stand than we have vertical, as far as just all the random pieces that are down here. I mean, we really have no idea what they're for, but I think more than anything, we would expect to see some columns, like if they were going to do a vertical one, and that would probably be one of the first things that they start doing is drilling for that. But I can't even imagine trying to drill anything here with this water level.
It's no different than drilling at the build site or the launch site.
I guess that makes sense. Oh man, yeah,
Ask,
it'd be
ask
fun to watch
Mauricio how
that.
low the water level is around those sites.
Yeah, this will be fun to watch this develop. But I feel like we've spent a lot of time on Massey, so maybe we should hop over to the Sanchez site. So let's go ahead and do that. And here we are. Wow, this is a really clear day out here today. Or on, what was this, Wednesday?
That was on Thursday. We did a flyover on Thursday, and we did ground shots on Friday.
Right. Yeah, there's, man, so much going on out here right now. So one of the first things I've noticed was, well, we've seen earlier this week that these large, Dave, what did you say they were?
I'm going to call them radiators, like a car radiator.
Yeah, I think they're very similar to these right here.
I think they're almost identical to those, yes.
They look a little bigger.
Yeah, but I mean in design.
Right, right. And do you happen to know, so what part of this process the radiators are used for?
I think that's just water cooling for processed water. In relation to, they're going to be so the way you get liquid oxygen or liquid nitrogen out of air is you compress air really high, which makes it really hot, and then you cool that air. So somewhere you need to have a radiator that takes the compressed hot air and probably does a air water heat exchanger inside the process, and then you have to get all the water cooled back down again. So I'm guessing these are the process water cooling for cooling the process water for cooling the air. So you've got three things here. You've got on the left, you've got ones that have fans on the top. In the middle, those have fans underneath. Sort of like flipping those over. So the ones if you flip the ones on the left upside down, they look sort of like the ones in the middle. And then on the right, you have actual air conditioning type Freon coolers.
Oh, interesting.
So
Do you know why these two are different?
I'm guessing because they bought them from two different manufacturers.
Okay, but they are the same thing.
I think they're both tube and I think they're both just radiators. It's just whether they're updraft or suction or pressure blown. They're all the air is going to go upward in all of them because you always want hot air to rise. It's just whether the fans are on top or on the bottom.
Right, that makes sense. Interesting. I wonder if they're going to just expand that cooling capability here.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is they're adding six more there over by that dump? Oh, by the way, there's that famous dump ring. That's the 12-meter ring sitting on the ground that they dump excess cryo into to let it evaporate. But I think I'm wondering if they just need either they're increasing the capacity of the plant, maybe so they can run it. They decided that the plant can cool more air than they can cool the water stream with, so they needed more water tower cooling towers. But yeah, they're putting six more radiator systems in. We have some ground photos of them. I don't remember if it was
I have some.
from Chief or from Mauricio, but you can see the end of them, and they're very obviously just a couple of pipes going into a big box, and then the box has lots of little pipes that run from end to end of this radiator and then get collected at the other end and go out. Yep, there you are. So you can see that sort of tank there with the two pipes coming out the top, and then the 100 or 200 little pipes that go across from
Oh
one end of
wow,
this.
that's what these are.
Yeah, those are pipe caps.
Can they swap them out like that?
They're probably for cleaning, so they're just a closed pipe club. You plug, you open it up, and you can run a cleaning brush or something through it if you get silt or something in the pipe. I mean, it's just like in a steam boiler.
Wow.
You can see each one of them's been leaking a little bit over wherever. And by the way, these are obviously not new. Once again, SpaceX procurement has found something available, probably from the oil field or somewhere at auction.
I have a feeling they'll probably take the grating off the top of it, um, and just refurbish them. Like
Oh, they very well could. That's a normal maintenance type function for cooling towers. Is you have to clean the gratings, periodically replace them because dust, dirt, and bird excrement end up settling on them.
yeah, lots of birds. It looks like on this one. Yeah, I'm wondering if they were in operation like this, or if they just sat for so long unused that this is what they look like now.
I would. That looks like they're operational. That's what I sort of. If you look at the other ones, they're starting to look like that a little bit too. They've put new filter material or filter trays on top, but they'll get rusty over time. Just like everything else in that plant has a layer of patina of rust on it.
I wonder what this crane is doing down here. I have some previous images of
I think
Sanchez.
that's a man. Oh, we got a crane and a man lift there. Who knows?
Yeah, let's just check that area. Oh, that crane is always there, apparently. Looking at.
I'm guessing the crane and the man lift belong to the pipe fitters that are working on the plant.
Yeah, it just sits there, apparently. um, well, I guess while we have this up, let's look at some more comparisons of this area from last week. So I'm going to compare. Let me grab one that's looking in the same angle really quick. This might do it. So down here, we can see that they had this trench dug for electrical, I believe, electrical.
Probably, if you look, there's another line running parallel to the side of the tent from the street.
This one, yeah. So you think just parking lot lights?
No, I suspect that's well. Looking at the very end of the tent, it looks like we have two vaults, so I suspect that's the power feed to this area. Because you've got like 12 big conduits in the ground there.
Aren't these boxes for like putting lights on top of?
They could be, or they could be manholes for a storm sewer. What I'm looking at, look at the very right hand end of the tent. You'll see the red fence there. That's where the conduit comes from, the power distribution.
Okay.
And then you can see there's like 6 conduits coming out of each one, and they run down the side of the tent towards the left-hand end.
Coming out of the tent?
I think that's going to be the supply into the tent. I think it's going to keep going. There was either that area or to the left hand where those missing tent panels are, which might be a loading dock or might be where there's utilities. Because
Let's
there's
go
some
ahead
more.
and
There's some more vaults that are right on the ground. Yeah, see, there's all that other trench out there.
yeah. So this is what it looks like this week. Yeah. So are these? Do you think they'll throw more conduit down here, or is this something else? It almost looks like they're framing something out right here.
Well, there were cutouts in the slab in line with those inside the tent. When they poured the slab that the tent's sitting on, that area had large cutouts. So I'm suspecting that's going to be utilities, maybe air conditioning.
Are you saying I need to grab an even older image?
Oh, you'd have to go back maybe a month.
I can do that.
It
would need to be before when the slab was there.
When the slab was there with no tent on it, just on this end. There were like that. This corner had a notch out of it, though. The rest of the slab was rectangular. This corner had a notch out of it.
Right. I got us an example of that, I believe. Hopefully.
Yeah, see those 4 notches?
Yeah.
So that's
Interesting.
inside the tent.
Oh, wait, but so are you thinking that these are the loading docks because they're
They could have dock levelers there, or it could be utilities. We're going to have to keep an eye on this for another week or two, and we'll probably have an answer. It's just interesting that those 4 spots were not concreted in the slab, and everything else was.
Yeah, I mean the other thing is that they weren't all adjacent to each other. There was like gaps in between the rest of them.
Yep.
But you can't even really see them right now, so I don't know what they. Oh wait, is that one right there? You can kind of
Yep.
see them.
Yep. There's one between each leg of the tent.
I feel like this place requires a loading dock, given that it's a material storage place. So it would only make sense. I mean, like you said, I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one.
And then we've got the weird door that they haven't got the door cut into there with the nice arch on the top.
Yeah.
The cathedral ceiling door there.
It's like they're waiting for the SpaceX team to come bursting through there, like the intro
football
to
team, yeah.
Yeah. Just Elon by himself. I don't know if hopefully he has people with him, because it would suck to see him bounce off of that if he can't get through it. You gotta have a whole team in order to get through those kind of things. So continuing on, I guess. Actually, hold up. We got the other side of this building too, so let's take a look at that. Because I found this kind of interesting. These concrete pads right here. So I'm assuming they'll have a huge air conditioner for this building. If not,
I'm guessing they have probably 4 of them down the length there.
all of different sizes, maybe.
Or, yeah, maybe different ratings. There might be interior. We might be seeing some interior structure we don't know about. Now that the outside's up, they might put dividing walls of some sort inside that. And they have another one of those lovely cathedral arched doors
Are
in the
these the
middle of the
loading
dirt.
docks?
I don't know. It's the same as the other side, but we've only got 2 on this side, and we got like 5 on the other side.
I feel like you can back a truck in here pretty nicely. It's probably like the perfect height. Here, maybe we have a ground image to.
I don't know. If we go back like 3 weeks when Mauricio was taking a shot from Remedios into the end of the tent, I seem to remember there was an 8-foot ladder like really close to those openings, and those weren't much taller than the ladder.
I may possibly have an image of that. You're stretching my capabilities today, but we're gonna try. You said 3 weeks. Let's see.
Well, yeah, it was before they put the end wall up. So when he was standing on Remedios shooting into the tent.
I don't know if this is the best one to show it, but I'll try. No, because this is in the way.
Well, actually, that's not too bad. You can see the guys on the scissors lift that are fully down. Their heads are higher than the door openings.
Oh, hey, look. So we have a trailer right here. We can see how tall they are. And where's the other openings over here? Okay.
See the guy on the left cherry picker? You can see that's the max height for the door because there's a beam there.
So that is too small for a loading dock.
It's tight. It would be really tight.
Yeah, I mean, with seeing this truck in the back, I believe that's
just a standard trailer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'll throw that idea out.
Well, don't throw it out completely yet, because they can build some structure around there and box in a loading dock if they wanted to. So it's not done yet. It's
like
still
a ramp on that ramp downwards.
Well, either that or they could actually box up, and now that the thing's rigid, they could take that beam out and put another structure in if they had to. Like when the loading dock door company comes in to install their product into the tent, they could modify it as needed.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, we haven't seen these large air conditioner units show up yet, but that'll be a important step for allowing them to actually work in there. Obviously, there's probably going to be tons of storage racks that are going to be brought in here at some point. as well. And these could, I don't think that's them.
No, that
But
looks like electrical tray.
yeah, electrical tray. So no idea what all of this stuff is, but obviously most of it probably goes inside of there. And these could possibly be like their storage racks showing up in boxes right here, but I don't think
I
we're
would
ever going to be able to see this.
Yeah, I would expect interior fitment to start showing up to get moved in soon. But I expect the air conditioning, if it comes in like I think it is, there'll be unit air conditioners. They'll come in on a flatbed. They'll get lifted, set down, and be done. Sort of like the ones they put in on the payload processing building.
Right. That makes sense. I have some ground images of the front side of this building. So we can see that they completely sealed it off. This is literally the only two ways that we can see into it are on these corners now.
And how do you like that draggle-tooth man lift there coming around the corner?
Wow. The reach around?
The reach around.
Why didn't they just come from the outside? Too easy. This is showing off.
You're asking silly questions, Zach.
Yeah, this is just showing off right here.
Because they were shooting a promotional video for JLG. I don't know.
These definitely look like loading docks when you see it from this angle. Because is there a wall support right here?
There's a structure that I don't know if it's a wall support. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some framing there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say that that's what this is. I bet they'll probably throw up panels on either side of them as well too. Do we have another side view of that? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, I assume there's going to either be, the slit rubber doors or plastic doors or roll-up garage doors are going to have to be there to keep the air conditioning inside this in the summer.
Right, that makes sense. This other item, which we believe is related to the other two that showed up, or sorry, the other 6 ones that we saw from the aerials. I don't know if we know what this is yet, right?
We don't know what it is. I'm sort of guessing it might be another cold box or something to do with another gas separation or something similar to that. We know it's on its side. It's got feet on the rear end of the trailer. Handrail there, and there's a photo from a higher angle. It looks like there's electrical connections under the yellow stuff on the top of it. I don't think it was a Mauricio photo. It might have been
Kevin.
It was either Kevin or SSG.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any more shots of this in here. Yeah, I mean this. So when that air separation plant, like when the tower showed up, and I'll go back to an aerial just to show it. Oh man, now that I think about it, you're probably right about this. So, I mean, it almost looks identical to one of these pieces right here.
Yeah, I mean that came in pieces on its side on long bed flatbeds, but I'm just looking at it in terms of pipe diameters and sort of what things are sticking out of it on the sides. It just looks like it might be another cold box or a small cold box. Maybe they're going to split the argon stream off in it. I don't know.
But aren't they already doing that right here?
Yeah, but they may be. Notice that's right next to where they're putting all the new stuff in,
Or at least where they're staging it, right?
I'm wondering if that may actually be where it's going to end.
Well, it would block off the road.
The fact that they butted them up so neatly makes it look less like it's staging and more like it's being installed.
Well, that would be weird.
Well, I mean, if it's just water cooling, I mean, you just run a pipe over to it. It doesn't have to be next to something.
I mean, I'm assuming they have spacing in between them for a reason over here, right?
Worker access, air access to them. just
Yeah.
to get good airflow.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see some land being cleared or something for that. I mean, it really does look like it's an extension of this facility, but that would make sense because I mean, right now we know that they do produce liquid nitrogen and liquid oxygen here, but they're still getting some from Brownsville. Like we can tell that they're driving some in from Brownsville, so it would make
and Houston and all over Texas and Louisiana. I mean, they're coming from all over the place.
yeah. So it would make sense to increase the capacity of this. It seems like it's not enough right now. This may just be like the first stage of their air separation plant, but again, I don't see a lot of room to expand it unless they start using some of this space over here.
Speaking of that space there, you are pointing at a very interesting piece of ribbed metal.
This one?
That one. The base of the nose cone jail.
Yeah, it's looking like it's I think it looked similar to this last week, but
It did, but it's sitting on our favorite hexapodal, octagonal, whatever it is, base, which is where it was last time it did its nose cone jail work. And then it got taken off and was sitting on the ground for a long time, and now it's being reassembled. The expectation is either the nose cone jail is going to come here or this is going to go to Massey's.
Right. And let's look at some images from last week just so we can see if anything else changed right there. So that's this week. Other than obviously, we shouldn't expect to see that can crusher anymore. But other than that, I mean, it does look cleaner over here this week. But the everything other than the can crusher seems to still be the same. Yeah, I don't see many other changes back here, but I just wanted to be sure of that. So we can hop back over then. Did you say the Airstream Park grew?
Yes, look at last week's
This one?
Airstream Park. I think it grew probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, but they used to be in sort of clusters of Airstreams end to end in circles, and then there's a couple, 2 of them right there in the middle, just sort of on their own.
Loners. I like that.
Yeah, because I thought when I was down there last, which has been a couple of months, that area was just all AstroTurf. Those 2 weren't there. I'm pretty sure.
Right. I believe they also brought all of these trailers in here for some reason. So all of these are new. It's really weird to see what they're.
Some of those are interesting because those are canvas top containers.
What is? Oh, like they're soft tops?
Yeah, look at them. See the one that's got no top on it, and you can sort of see the others. 5 of the 6 are soft tops, or no top, 4 soft tops, and 1 regular.
That makes them good for stacking on top of each other?
Makes them good for being able to lift big loads in the top instead of having to go in through the end doors.
So getting rid of a bunch of junk?
I don't know. I mean, there's something inside that end one on the left. Whether it's coming in or going out, no clue. Looks like a generator or something.
Yeah,
maybe.
Looks like one of those United Rentals generators. Somebody's like, "Hey, I was looking for that." Maybe we can see it from this angle. Yeah, that looks like United Rentals, right?
It's somebody's, but it looks like a generator unit. Yeah, but you can see that's a soft top.
This one's soft top.
That one's soft. The red one's a hard top. And the blues are tarp tops.
Interesting. Well, it's exciting to see stuff happening back there in that side of Sanchez for once. It's been a little bit dead back here, other than the this building over here. So I haven't noticed much happening on this side.
Other than the United Rentals corner over here is slowly getting more cluttered and filled.
Yeah. Let's compare this one too, because I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So I'm actually going to bring in this previous image. And then we'll compare that one more time to the other one, except I got to find that same angle, of course. So take a mental picture of this, everybody. We're swapping back. All right. Well, I don't think there's too much. I mean, it's definitely a lot more happening over in the United Rentals area. This trailer, I think we mentioned last, or yeah, sorry, this trailer's new. This is the actual office trailer that they use to, um, for the United Rentals office, essentially.
Yeah, that's
But
where the accountant sits to figure out how much SpaceX owes him this week.
so we have I believe this is a booster transport stand, but this looks different. I've never seen one that looks like this, actually. So this is a booster transport stand, but they usually look a little bit different than this on the top. I think they've redesigned them. If these are the base plates for the clamps, I believe there's maybe 20 of them. 18. We're missing 2. Um, well, that's odd. Where's the other ones? I mean,
Ground Fab is still finishing them.
wait, this is right in front of the. We probably have some ground images of this too, because I just want to verify that this is a actual transport stand for a booster, because it just looks weird to me. So we got a ground image right here.
I'm actually thinking it might be a Starship stand because it's the big M&M, which gives you room to get a Raptor underneath it.
That would be legit if they make it so that they can replace Raptors on a transport stand without having to lift the Starship on top of the RVACs. Like, that would be really convenient, I think. So just to expand on that a little bit more, if those of you who aren't aware, that is how they install the RVACs on the ships. Is they actually, and I wish Jack's here, because I'm when I say it, it makes it seem like it sounds crazy, but they lift the ship on top of the RVAC engine. So they lift it up, place the RVACs under it, and then drop the ship back on top.
Yes, they lift the ship off a tall stand. They lift the 3 RVACs into the center of the stand, and then they lift the ship back on top of the stand, so they can then get the RVACs up into the ship without having to tip them on their side and do all sorts of gymnastics.
So we need. Oh, and now that I think about that, so when we look at them from the aerial view, one more time, the booster stands are a lot wider, or at least a little bit wider than the ship stands, right? So this is the same diameter. So this probably is a ship stand then. And you also have right here where there's no on the edges. There's only beams going around these 2 sides right here, so there's actually space to.
There's gaps on the 2 sides, and if you
Yeah.
look at the ground photo you had, you can see where the beam is, the horizontal straight beam is secured in that opening.
Oh, was that a temporary beam though? No.
I don't know. I'm just seeing it's in the opening.
It's welded.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a modified stand. They only need one side open, so it's hard to say. And looking at this, I don't think this is this stand's first rodeo. I think it's being repurposed.
Yeah, I think this stand was originally in the. Oh no, I'm thinking of. There's another one that's also back here, which is very similar. So there's this one right here.
Yep,
So
that's another M&M. That's another M stand.
I've always thought it was odd that they kept this. Oh, these are a little bit different. I think this one's even taller. But I've always thought that it was no, never mind. It's sitting on some stands. That's why. I've always thought it was weird that they kept this back here, and it would make sense if they were finally gonna like convert it, because they have so many things that they don't use anymore. But instead of just like completely scrapping them, they could potentially just be converted over pretty simply, as long as the base structure is the same on each one. So, yeah, these guys are working pretty quickly to get this done. So that would be interesting to see if that's what they end up doing with it. Is making it so that they can basically a brand new ship stand, and um, they wouldn't have to. It wouldn't have to be a transport stand either. It could just be an actual
It could be a work stand.
yeah, just a work stand, so they can put the ship on top of it and then put the Raptors underneath it, and then they would have to lift it off again to put it back on the transport stand. So yeah, I mean, it could just be a workstation stand for the actual high bay. So
And while you're here, we have a SPMT with its joiners on its side, top left of the image. A two SPMT with its A-frame joiners to another SPMT that are not connected.
that's what those are used for. I've been wondering what these are for the longest time. Like,
I had also, but I
what?
saw the picture last night and going, okay, I know what those A-frames are, and that's
Why?
definitely because that makes it a rigid 2-wide SPMT to fit under a booster, or probably under a Starship,
Hold on, let me go back.
or maybe under a Can Crusher.
Oh wait, is that what they use to transport the Can Crusher?
I don't know. I don't remember,
I
but
don't think so.
I'm just those A-frames have been sitting over in Sanchez along the fence for ages.
A wild Jax has appeared.
A wild Jax is here. Hello, Jax.
Wow, I didn't think you'd notice me that quickly. Hello.
Oh, Indian
Thank you for
Star's
doing
right
it.
on top of the channel.
And how can I
Cool.
not notice you, my friend?
Do you guys think these could be for suspending something in the middle and then, transporting a starship sideways?
No, I think it's just to tie two SPMTs together as a rigid unit.
Interesting. Huh. Well, that is. Oh, and then you would only need a power unit. Never mind. Maybe you only need one power unit. You just switch.
You could, well, given this as a study, yeah, you could run 4 of them side by side on one power unit.
Well, that's nowhere
Yeah.
near as exciting as what I thought these were for.
Well, I remember when they moved the Can Crusher to the Massey's facility, they did have 2 SPMTs beside each other. Like, not beside each other, but they were connected side by side. So that might have been that.
That would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
I mean, it's a very interesting donut there on the cement also, where the SPMT turned into place there, it looks like.
Yeah,
Hopefully the wildlife people aren't out there monitoring SPMTs turning donuts inside SpaceX.
Well, I believe that might be all we have happening over here at the Sanchez site.
I was going to say, I believe with Jaxie here, it's time to go to the build site.
Yeah, we might as well.
But before we do, can I shout out a few people who've been donating?
Yeah.
Great. We want to thank Nose Cone Jail, who donated $10. He says, great shots, keep flying high. We want to thank Anthony Monahan for donating €5.99. And he has a question. We can ask that. Oh, it's here for Sanchez. Does SpaceX own the grassy area near the tent in the Sanchez site?
No.
Okay. And the
So
last
that's
one.
he's talking about this area over here.
I would believe so, yes.
Yeah, they do not. We do.
Who's we?
CSI.
Us?
We bought that.
Oh, nice.
Just haven't expanded out yet.
I like it a lot. And then 2 more shout outs for Jingle Bells, who donated €10. I'm sorry, €11, excuse me. And she says, sorry she's late. And Mistletoe Prophet, who also donated $10 and says, ditto on the sorry he's late. No worries. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you to everybody who's donated. We really appreciate all of you. I just finally figured out that these are for sure the booster clamps. They're just upside down.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It seems like this frame piece, I believe this frame piece right here for these used to actually go on the stand itself, but it looks like they've moved them onto here. And I don't think this is a booster stand, but I suppose it could be converted to one as well now that they have these off. But Jax, did you hear the idea about potentially building a taller workstation for the ship so that they can get RVACs underneath it?
I think that'd be an interesting idea. It'd be a good idea because their current method of doing it is shaky. This stand here, by no means is it a new stand. They could probably try that. Typically, what this one is used for is test tanks, and I think they've even used it to scrap some garbage too, like
Right.
SN16 and Ship 21.
Oh, they put it on here first, and then
Because it kind of let the downcomer stick through the bottom because it's so tall.
that makes sense. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I like the idea. I think that a better method of putting those vacuum engines on would be best.
Other than lifting the whole ship off the top of it.
It'd be nice if they didn't have to lift it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna move us over to the build site, but I wasn't sure if you wanted to mention anything else in Sanchez.
Did we talk about the nose tip for the cage?
That's on the ground images, right?
It's in the ground photos too. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that really quick.
So while you're looking for that, I guess just to give some context, back last year when SpaceX tested serial number 12's nose cone inside of the nose cone testing cage, you might remember that a black tip was installed on the top because they had made it the blunt nose cone. And that tip has just been sitting around ever since, and that's been a year and a half, more than a year and a half.
Where is it?
It is 3 photos to the right. Yeah. So now it's been moved right beside the base of the nose cone jail. So they're getting ready. They're getting ready for a nose cone, and I think we're gonna put out a tweet thread on Ring Watchers at some point about that. I just finished writing it.
So they will need to cut the tip of the nose off the ship first, right?
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
goes on top.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Ship 29 a little bit more once we get over to the low bay.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do that. I just realized there's one last thing that I did want to mention is that I believe these two blue compressor tanks or whatever for the boosters will probably go away soon because they finally have the pads for those two tanks to sit on right here. So it looks like both this tank. Oops. Whoa, that was weird. Man, that sent me all the way to the other side of Sanchez. So this one and this one will probably both sit right next to each other over here. And then they'll be used to pressurize these two boosters. And hopefully they don't build another two. Well, actually, that would be cool if they built two more over here, but I highly doubt that because it's getting into their water station. But yeah, anyways, let's continue on and move over to the build site. So,
Great.
where you want to start?
Where do I want to start? That's an interesting question. There's one topic I'm going to completely avoid. And ideally, we're going to forget that it happened.
Are you talking about that shiny rabbit object in the middle here?
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, Booster 10's in the wide bay. We have some pretty nice photos of that. Oh,
on
I
the
guess,
ground.
yeah, if we in the ground photos from the mud flats, some of my favorite photos when he gets out there. So yeah, here's the methane tank for booster 10 with its grid fins and raceway on the wrong side.
Oh, did you
Um,
see the side by that nose cone over there? Where is it? The salt flare. There we go.
yeah. So, well, yeah, here's, I guess, the Trooper, Booster 7, relaxing, getting some work done.
Oh, I was confused for a second. I was like, because I couldn't tell that we were looking so high up in there. Yeah, Booster 7. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like Booster 7, but I can't wait for them to just launch it so that we can move on to the next one.
Well, the best, as far as I'm aware, if you look at Booster 7, this might be the first time that they've actually used the work platforms. It's right up at them.
Oh yeah, he's backed up against it for sure. Oh, that's a great picture. They're still using the wind services lift in the front, which is interesting because they could just flip this around. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they build something that's able to swing out.
Well, I don't know if they're going to have to do that. The issue with Booster 7-8's design was that the raceway and the tank hatch are kind of far apart, so it kind of makes it difficult to access both. Booster 9 and onwards, they're right beside each other. So like the tank hatch is right beside where that man lift would go. So ideally they'll be able to rotate the, yeah, you can see where the hatch is now, right beside the raceway.
Oh, wow. So that theoretically could all be just so that they can work on them easier inside of the bay.
Just back it right up onto the platform. Yeah.
Do you think that this collides with the platform?
I mean, it'll stop it from going like touching all the way, but it shouldn't be anything too major.
Right. I bet you actually the platform backs up against these stringers, but then this is still on top of the stringers. So
Yeah, they extend off just a bit.
interesting. Let me go back over to the these ones. So we also have Booster 7 in here. Oh, sorry, were you done with, or I
Yeah,
said
we can
7, but I meant 10.
we can move on from Booster 7 and talk about 10. And I guess what I do want to do is correct something I said about 2 weeks ago with Booster 10 having chines moved. It doesn't. What they did do is it seems that they accidentally put the COPV mounts in the wrong spot on one section, as far as I can tell.
Right here?
Right. No, I think either they've been cut off now or I'm blind. But yeah, this thing's gonna have four chines, just like 7, 8, 9, whatnot.
Is this different from last week? Because I have some images from last week we can compare it to.
It's taller, but I don't think they've done anything super major. It's 16 rings tall now. 12, 16, 12.
So
16.
all they need on this is the aft section now.
Wait, is that 6? That looks like 12 rings tall. That's not right.
Well, I can't tell how many are below this.
Should just be. I need to look at that later because that ain't right.
You think they stacked it in there without you noticing? Because that could easily happen.
Yeah, there's just so much that they're able to do without
that
us
wall.
seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with Booster 9 having been in there that entire time, just kind of like sitting in the middle, and you couldn't see 7 or 10 at all. I mean, they could have easily rolled that through the front door. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if you guys missed that go in there. Yeah, but it is nice to see that progress on 10 already.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And it's still identical to 9, right?
Not identical. Similar. Booster 10 will be the first to use an E-dome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the common dome. So.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that's the only major change I know of yet for now. We'll see as time continues on.
Should I get back to the aerials? Oh wait, so I think we did cover this last week or a few weeks ago, but somebody pointed it out again, so I guess we should re-mention it, that they have the permanent covers over the chines. I do believe these have been here for several weeks, but just in case we haven't looked at those yet, they look pretty spiffy.
Yeah, and I guess it's important to talk about these. Just a lot of people notice that Booster 9's chines are still all opened up, so this is what'll happen eventually. Zooming through the photos. I keep forgetting Booster 9's out at the pad. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so you can see those gaps where those get mounted.
Now, something I was talking with Nick last night, Cam. The Booster 9's chines are actually longer, ever so slightly.
Is that so that they could fit this on there?
I think, yeah, there's some more stuff under there. There's the battery under each now. There's the Starlink. So I think they just had to make them just a bit longer.
I mean, I like them however long they are, honestly. It's kind of the perfect length. I almost wish they went all the way up the LOX tank. But that's probably unnecessary. Just extra weight for no reason. Let me go back to, let me swap to the aerials actually.
Yeah. What else do we have going on here? Well, I guess we probably.
They still have these work platforms out here, and they haven't brought them in yet. And I don't think they'll be able to do this until, I believe they'll have to perform a swap with where Booster 10 is, because these. Actually, I need to double check this. I can't tell if these go on the elevator, if these go on the stairs. They look like they're the elevator versions, maybe. I'd have to double check, because the ones for the stairs are wider, so they actually look more. They come out further like this, because the stairs are much wider than the actual elevator is. So I think these are for elevators, which means that two of them belong in the corner where Booster 7 is, and then the other two would go in the back right corner, which I don't think there's anything back there right now. So that could be what they're waiting for, at least for the left side. But if they belong on the front side, then they're probably waiting to move Booster 10 out of the way. But I'm gonna have to verify which size these are. I can't remember if they've already swapped a pair of these in yet or not. But they still have even more structural pieces for more of these. So I'm expecting that once they, well, they're going to have to do this entire concrete section at some point. So I feel like once they have this section fully done, we might see them start more construction for the inner stuff of the building. We should talk about the back of the building too, huh? I feel like we moved away from the vehicles for a little bit, but we'll get back, so don't worry. But the structure on the back is nearing completion as well too. One of the reasons I'm excited for this to be complete is most of this stuff I believe should go into the other tent. I believe they may still want some of it in here just so it's close. Like you have one set of booster parts in here, and all the rest of them go in that other tent. And then that leaves this area a lot more clear for like storing ring sections and stuff like that, things that are completed, and just waiting to go in there. But we are still waiting to see, obviously, what that is going to end up looking like. What is this?
Steel.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of any places where they're missing steel, and I can't think of any.
Yeah.
Star Factory.
Oh, maybe they're going to build a canopy on the front of this? It almost looks like it.
Might be nice to protect the glass.
Right? Yeah, sorry. Shiny object, literally. So let me move back over here. So yeah, they've gotten most of this structure completed, and we have some ground images of it as well, but I'll search for those as I'm talking about it. It looks like the only thing that they have remaining is this left, really this left edge over here. Actually, that looks good from here. But the doorway, that's pretty much it. So hopefully we'll see this actually open up soon and they be able to start to use it. I'm sure they have some interior stuff they have to do as well too. But having
Well,
this,
if you can find the ground image of that doorway, there's something interesting in the picture of it.
this one.
There's another one. More straight on into the door. There's a large yellow thing sitting on the ground.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So there is a bridge crane sitting down here, which is waiting to be installed. So that should go on top of these rails up here, and I'm scrolling up, and there's nothing left to scroll. So,
Yeah, he did. He zoomed in on the bridge crane, but didn't give you the top of the opening.
sorry about that. Yeah, so we got do we have the size on this thing?
Three something ton is what we saw under the tarps.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess we have that ready to go. And on the outside, you guys can see that most of the final like outer coverings, I don't know what you call these, I used to know what they're called. I want to say the fascia, but I don't think that's what it is.
Trim.
Yeah, the trim, all the rest of the trim. Only one more strip on there and on the other side as well too. And then it looks like they'll be done. Oh, we got some edge stuff right here. But yeah, I mean, it's really good to see this building nearing completion because that just means that it's one step closer to the tents 1 and 2 coming down, hopefully. And this is actually finishing up right about the same time as the other one is. So that's perfect. What is that?
That's a shiny rabbit hole. That's probably an engine cover.
Is this a new version of it? Wait, is this the barrel?
It looks like a barrel, and it looks like it's got lots of clinch nuts on this side of it, which means there'd be bolts coming in from the other side to hold something on the outside of it, where all those what look like donuts are. The little donuts.
Yeah, this is like that. Oh wait, this is what it looks like from the side.
That should be it.
So I think the boot goes underneath it or on top of it or something like that.
I'm going to say it looks like there's brackets on the bottom, but those would be on a different pallet.
So these are new though, right? They're not. I don't think they have these on Booster 7.
They may be getting them on Booster 7.
Interesting. They could be. We haven't seen the new shielding come in for the outside of the engines where that was never replaced.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised that those haven't shown up yet. Matter of fact, let's transition back up to the aerial view because there are some things I wanted to show from up there. So Jax, all of these are for obviously the Starship, right? Or are these for the Center 3 of the booster?
So Jaxie just stepped away for a couple of minutes. I think
Okay.
he can answer that question when he returns.
But I believe the answer is they are Starship.
Okay, yeah, so we have 2 of those out here now, and I think these must be one of the last pieces they put on. Well, never mind. I don't think you can slide this underneath the engine. I'm guessing this probably has to go on first. I think we have some renders of this somewhere, so maybe when Jax gets back, we'll be able to show what those actually look like when they're installed. But other than that, I don't think there's much else happening out on the external of the building other than Booster 7 being pressurized through the back left corner.
There is a question about wide bay.
Yeah.
So Craneman wants to know, why does it take so long for the wide bay roof glass to be finished? It still holds the massive scaffolding on the outside.
I feel like they're just not worried about it right now. It's just like really, really low on their list of things to do for some reason. But other than that, I can't really come up with a good reason on what's taking them so long. I mean, we haven't really seen any progress as far as additional framework going up here.
And I think that might be the answer, is that there was a delay in getting some of the window framing delivered, and that they're just waiting.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, they took a really long time to build out the inside of the high bay as well, too. A really long time.
Yeah.
So it's
And
probably also just low on their list, like I was saying.
Jax is also back if you wanted to ask that question again.
Oh yeah, Jax, I was just wondering, these like Dave kind of confirmed it, but these, I was wondering if these are actually for the Starship or the center 3 of the booster. But and also, do these go on first before they slide the engines up, or after?
I do not know. I thought it was first, but I mean, if it's for ship 25, I sure hope it isn't first.
Yeah, I always found it weird that these are here instead of like in one of the tents. But I mean, it looks like this is part of the false bottom.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
these other panels go right here. But wait, do we have a picture of bottom of Starship so we can look at that really quick?
I'll
I
pull
think
it
we
up.
do. We pull one up really quick. Actually, I'm not really sure where it's at. I can't remember which week it was that they had it in the air that Mauricio caught them. So yeah, we'll continue on, and I'll see if I can find that in the background.
I'm just uploading it right now.
Okay,
But
cool.
they are big photos. I guess one of the things we'll cover afterwards. Did you talk about the booster engine shielding by the wide bay too?
The one on the ground.
There's just all the piled up stuff.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused if we were looking at. I'll go back to that right here. I was confused if it was for a new shielding for booster 9. Where is that image? I am lost. I'm gonna switch just to the ground side, but I'm gonna have to find that image.
I just posted the underside of the ship.
Okay. Oh, now I know why I can't find it. I'm looking at the wrong week. Here we go.
It's also in the
Are you
chat.
talking about these pieces?
Yeah, there are various pieces sitting around. So that's some of. I think this one might be for the ship.
Really?
I think because they're shorter.
And then there's 2 more to the right of it.
Yeah. Out beside the wide bay, we can see in the aerial photos.
It's a curved one.
Yeah, that goes at the top of the gimbaling engines, and that kind of lets it rotate.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. And so you're saying from the aerial view,
out beside the wide bay, mega bay, high bay 2, big bay, giga
big
bay.
Oops. 1 second. Sorry about that.
So out just to the left of this bay, like between the bay and the scrapyard, there's all of the shielding piled up here, and that is for booster 9.
Okay.
We saw a label on it. I can post it.
Let me grab that really quick. And so we're just waiting for booster 9 to get that testing done. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so those pieces that we were over zoomed, those pieces that we were looking at go up here.
We're still looking
sorry,
at
I didn't switch over. My bad. So they go
yeah, they're that ceiling area.
Up this, everything above this, essentially.
Yeah.
And this would be that curved section.
It's hard because the perspective gets deceiving. The skirt's covering a lot right now, but we are looking at the ceiling pieces and stuff for the gimbaling engines.
Right. Yeah, so these are the false ceiling up there behind it. Interesting. All right, let me swap back over.
But yeah, I posted in live comms. I posted the label for on that shielding.
Oops.
It
says 4B9.
It says 4B9 in all capital letters.
Don't put this on anything else. Here, I'll show us that really quick. 4B9. Where did you get this image from?
It was in one of Mauricio's photos from a week or two ago. It was like at a weird angle, and I had to flip the image, but
Barely read that.
yeah, it's 4B9.
Saw that. All right. Well, what else do we got over here? We haven't talked about anything, or we haven't talked about any of the Starship related stuff or the actual ring yard.
We haven't talked about the Starship that was just stacked. Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're not going to, Dave.
I mean, we had a discussion yesterday whether or not this is the first time we've had 2 complete starships inside of there, but we couldn't come up with a definitive answer on that. Have you thought about that, Jax?
I haven't. It's hard to look at all of the ships. I still think it might be. I can't think of a time where there were 2 completed ships.
I feel like it's not possible. It may not be possible to do it with flaps on.
Oh, that's also an interesting point.
Like that could be the only reason that they were able to do it. And I'm gonna get us some images inside of the. Oh well, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it from here. Some ground images inside of the high bay.
There are some photos of it. Handful of photos to the right.
Over here, we can see it a little bit better. Yeah, it is tucked in back there.
Yep.
With all of its little nubbies.
Oh. Could have got some intern to cut them off or something.
What is this?
It's
Oh wait, it's RCS.
Header tank vent, yeah. Should be the oxygen one.
Okay.
But yeah, it's there. It's here. I don't know.
Not a fan of it, I can tell. Yeah, I mean it's nice that they're reached that point where they've started on this, and I think I may have misspoken on Twitter calling this the tanker version, like a prototype of the tanker variant, but I think it's actually the depot version, right? So there's a difference between that because one of them is actually delivering fuel and the other one is a fuel storage, right?
Yep.
But that's just testing. It's just meant to test storing cryogenic fluids in orbit for long periods of time, right?
Yeah, I wonder if that is what 26 is about. I'm still stuck on that one. It's so weird.
Yeah, I mean that's as far as we know.
26 is only there to play confused Jax. It's actually never going to do anything. As soon as Jax gives up on it, it's just going to go to the scrapyard.
There we go.
Well, I'm happy to see any new starships. I mean, I prefer to see some of them launch or not launch, like blow up or something if that's the case. But it would
did you just say you're happy to see starships? Oh,
I would be happy to see them launch. I just want to see them actually get off the ground. It's been a long time just waiting for it. I'm sure everybody feels the same way. So, yeah, the wait has been pretty brutal. But I want to move back a little bit because I want to talk about the stuff that's in the ring yard right now. Well, I think we kind of touched on this one last week because it's been sitting here for a while, right?
Yeah, nothing much has changed on that. It's just sitting there, and with the lack of work on it, I think that's a good sign. It seems to be done.
Okay. Which one is this again?
This is that we don't know the serial number. We've just been calling it like the skirt crusher thing.
Okay.
Call it what you want.
The test structure.
Yeah.
And we also have out here. Hold on. I wanted to show the where is it? I wanted to show the payload section. I'm not sure if I have a good shot of it or not.
I don't know if we have a great shot this week from the
Are
ground.
you talking about Mr. Quinton?
Oh, there he is.
Just from the side, we can't really see from the front angle, but yeah, this is the one where they've modified it for potentially smaller satellites, most likely.
Yeah,
So-
something is up with this. Something, because they might be doing it to another one. They might. It's a solid 20% chance they are. But
Do we
they
have
might
images
be.
of that one? I think we did, right?
It's in the tent 3 photos, yeah. Looking into the backside of tent 3. Can't remember exactly which photo it is. So that's tent 2, got some aft sections.
Oh yeah, is that a booster aft section right there?
That one's the ship one.
Oh
The-
yeah. Sorry, I thought this was the top part of it.
Yeah.
So ship aft section, and then wait, is that inside of this one, or is that inside of? No, this two. They're both the same thing, right? These are two ship aft sections.
There should be 3. I don't know where the third one is, but yeah, that's 2 in this photo. I can't tell which one it's in. I'd say it's,
So
it's
27, 28, and 29 in here.
27, 28, and 30, in my opinion.
Okay.
I do not think 29 will ever leave the ground.
Well, that's sad to hear. So we know we have intent to is it all ship aft sections in here,
Uh,
or have you seen anything else other than ship aft sections?
there are a lot of ship aft sections. I don't know if it's exclusively ship aft sections. I can check.
Intent 1 is booster aft sections.
Tent 1's where they do the booster stuff, yeah.
Okay. And then we have tent 3 over here with a bunch of nose cones in there. I like how they have the same amount of pretty much everything right now. So actually they have more nose cones than anything, I believe, currently, correct?
They're working up to ship 31 with those, so pretty far ahead.
And back here, is this the
That
payload
is,
section?
so that's ship 29's payload section. This one front and center. And it's getting stuff done. You can see part of a Pez dispenser on the left.
Right here?
Yeah.
So this is waiting to go inside, right?
I'd imagine so. I think so. We'll
Is it
probably
a
see.
different design? Because it looks like it's black.
I think that's just lighting.
Okay.
Off to just beside that payload bay, kind of between the nose cone and the ring, you can see ship 28's payload bay with tiles on it.
1 second. I think I got stuck there. Sorry. Where on?
Just to the left of the nose cone and the right of ship 29's payload bay, inside of the tent. You just see a tiny, yeah. So you can see the ship 28's payload bay, what should be ship 28's payload bay with tiles.
That's crazy that you can even tell that that's what that is.
I
We don't have a better shot of it. No, we don't.
think that was our only shot of it, yeah.
And now we're looking in the Star Factory, correct?
Yeah. This one hurt to look at a little bit. This is Booster 12's aft section. It's been sleeved and they're already putting stringers in. Actually, one of the things that's cool about this photo is just to the left of your cursor, you can see the flipping block.
What?
Just to the left, you can see where they attach the flipping jig. Just keep going left. Keep going left. There.
Right there.
Right here.
That's where they attach the chains for the flipping stuff.
Is this 2 separate boosters though? Or is this all the same tank right here? Oh, this is, yeah, okay, I see it right now.
Yeah.
It goes all the way around here. Well,
Yeah,
that's nice to finally see that. I've been wondering if it's the same mechanism or not. I think we can see it a little better in this one.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, is it right here?
It's just to the left, right there.
Right there. Okay, sorry.
It
It looks like 2 separate tanks right here.
kind of does, but if it was, that would be weird. So it's probably one. Just outside of the bay and the photo to the left, we have Booster 12's forward dome sleeve. You can see the cutouts for the grid fins and the load point just to the right of it. So that'll be for the raceway wires. The load point's just to the
load
right of the
point.
grid fin.
Right here.
Yeah, and then the vents are on the top ring because it's upside down right now.
Why?
I'm not 100% sure why they do this one upside down.
So do they normally are these just markers, or are they actually cut and they just need to punch them out or something? Oh, they're cut.
Those are cuts, yeah. They'll have a robot do them.
To
As
take
far
them
as I'm aware.
actually take them out.
I'm
They'll
not
probably
sure
take
if
them
they.
out by hand, right?
Yeah, they should. I think they take them out by hand, but the robot. I'm pretty sure they have a robot do the actual, like, laser cut.
Man, that would be fun to actually like take these out by hand and punch them out. I thought the robot would actually cut them all the way through, but that makes sense that you wouldn't want the plate falling to the ground or anything like that. Nice. So what else do we have out here? Talked about Booster 10 already.
We had a picture that had the top of Quentin, and there was some interesting structure there. The ground photo.
Oh, a ground photo?
Yeah.
Was that from
from this week, I think.
Well, I mean, was it from the oh. It was from this angle?
No, it was 90 degrees to this.
I think it's a side profile from Remedios Road, I believe, over on the west side of by the Rocket Garden, I think.
One of the photos we go right.
Actually, it's a shot that's in between the high bay and the mega bay.
Yeah.
So if you zoom in on the top left part of Quentin here, you will see that the old huge door upper frame is being chained up to the support ring because it's collapsing.
Wait. Oh, this is collapsing?
Yeah, they had to chain it to the wind support because it's starting to see how it's drooping into the left over the door frame, over the door body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have this scab piece welded in, maybe to try to support it some more. Yeah, Mr. Quentin's led a very hard life.
I don't get why they don't just. I mean, I feel like whatever they're doing down here could have been done on a new ring section, but yeah, it's odd that this one has stayed around for so long.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Suppose. Yeah, that's a very odd one to me. What so we have some stuff on the front side of the mid bay that I think that we haven't touched on.
Sure.
So let me get us back over to the aerial. So this is just a random ring section, or did this previously have a label on it?
No, I think that's just a random Pathfinder.
It's Coupon City here.
Yeah, they took a lot of coupons. Probably quality testing or something.
Right. So I think Thomas was mentioning this the other day that in this one they've taken them out of every location possible. So you have one that's only on horizontal weld, and then you have one that's on a T essentially, and then another one that's on a vertical weld. But they've done even more than that. Looking from the aerial view, you can see that they've even taken them out from these sides because the sun's actually shining straight through it. So very interesting that they're doing that. And do you think this is related at all to maybe changing the way they're welding it in order to reduce the amount of internal supports they need?
I would hope that they aren't even thinking about reducing internal supports right now. That's what I hope they're doing.
Well,
you're both just hoping that they freeze their process long enough to get one of these off the ground.
Like, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're working on a deep dive, basically explaining everything that's been going on structurally with the Starship. So I kind of get why you would say that. it's definitely a good idea to add more instead of take away at this point, given everything that's been happening with the actual like structural stuff. And sorry, I'm trying to find a better image of the front side of the mid bay. Oh, we've already talked about this one, right? And then we mentioned this one at the beginning, correct?
I don't know, but if we didn't, that's ship 28's midlock section. You can see some tiles on the side.
So 28, and then this is 27.
Yep. Oh, you're learning.
Yeah, it's just weird that both of these are out here right now together. Like I'm not surprised that. Oh, sorry. Do they have the midlocks for 27 out here?
It's in
No?
the mid bay. It's been stacked with the
Oh,
common dome.
right here.
Yeah. But
Okay.
they haven't done a lot of work with ship 27 in a bit. But
Well, I don't think they need to. They got a lot of starships right now.
yeah.
3 fully stacked starships right now, so they're going to run out of places to actually keep them if they don't get a launch in soon. I think we're approaching the point where they're maxed out on storage right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move over to the actual. I wanted to cover the outside of the Star Factory a little bit, and actually, I don't think that they have the. I was looking to see if they brought all those steel beams out here, but the ones from Massey's, but I don't see them. But there is something else interesting that we noticed out here, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it in these. Oops. I don't think I'm going to be able to see it in these images. I may have to go to a long distance image in order to show this. So let me go ahead and do that. So on the side of the Star Factory, it appears that there's now a dock. And we believe this is probably for the little mini hovercraft. So basically to allow them to get from this side of the facility. I don't even know if they would use this to get back to the to go all the way over to. I wonder if we can see all of that together in one image. I don't know if we have a full shot like that this week, but you can actually at least see this from the side, where this dock is. And then the second dock is way back here. So that's still the build site in the bottom corner. And then the second dock is in the back. And this is the larger. Oh, wow. Actually, now that I think about it, it would make sense that this dock would go to, this hovercraft may need to go to multiple locations to drop people off. So it doesn't make sense to shuttle people back and forth from here to the build site if you can just build another dock down here. So I guess this is how people could get to work if they work at the build site versus working up north.
And then we need one by the water rocket garden.
For the Sanchez people?
For the Sanchez and Stargate people.
Oh, I feel like this is about as close as they're going to get. I mean, you can walk from there, you know? But, I mean, one for the launch site would be nice, but I don't think... Oh, wow. Now that I think about that, the one for the launch site would have to be... I highly doubt that they have one, but it would have to be... I was thinking near this parking lot, but I don't think there's any way for them to get there.
Yeah, at the launch site, it's a little bit more difficult. It's not accessible too easily to that side of the wetlands, I would say, you know.
Right.
And just to clarify, these boat ramps are specifically going to be used to transport people from the build site to South Padre Island.
Yeah. And if Sam... Oh, I forget Sam's not out here anymore. I was going to say if Sam gets in a call for some emergency turtle operations, this would be a good place to exit and get out there quickly. Although driving may be faster, but yeah, let's move on, I guess, to the... I was looking for that steel, and it's not out here, so I'm going to continue moving forward.
I would actually expect the steel to end up somewhere along the road near tent 1 and 2.
Let's see.
I don't think it's gotten there yet, but that's what I expected, just because that's where they're going to be using it.
Out here, like just in the.
Well, either or along the container wall or somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. It's going to be difficult because of the fact that they are, because this is a parking lot. You know what I mean? I feel like this may be their only real area that they can stage stuff right now back here. And I mean, because if they bring anything up, to the other side, basically, like where, in this lot right here, it's kind of far away. This is really the only other spot that I can see where they would be able to drop stuff off for staging.
Hey Zach, before you move away from the build site, I don't know if you covered the new grid fin that was spotted by the ground fabrication building there on the bottom left of that.
Oh
image.
yeah, I'm not done yet. Trust me. We're gonna go to that ground fab building right now, actually. So let's swap over there. So this is the new grid fin for booster 10, I'm guessing. Or no, booster 11. Booster 10 already has grid fins, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so this is for booster 11. So this is the first one we've seen for 11 show up. And another weird thing that I've noticed out here is they're building this random box. And just the color of it, I'm curious if it may end up on the tower, possibly. Yeah, I don't know where they would put this at on the tower, but most of the stuff for the tower and launch mount have been built out here. So I'm going to be interested to follow that over the next few weeks. But just interesting to point out. Another thing down here, I believe that this may be a new work stand for putting payload sections on top, and then they can sit the actual Pez dispenser on these brackets right here. And so it's basically like a jig for them to more easily lower that in. Because I don't think they have anything like this right now as far as something that they can actually sit the entire frame on top of. So I think this may be the first we've seen of that. But other than that, I don't think there's a ton more new stuff out here. We got a ship downcomer that just arrived.
Yeah, it should be for ship 28, I believe.
28. Where do you know where they store these when they're not ready to put them in?
Ship ones, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm not confident about where the ship ones go. I think the booster ones go to like that white building near the low bay.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But I just know that's where a lot of pipes and downcomer parts are, so I just know that's where they are.
And I want to check one more thing really quick and see if they've been removing stuff from this area. But I believe this is mostly the same as last week. So this is obviously going to be the other side of it. Yeah, looks like everything is mostly the same. I don't really see them actually preparing to take this tent down yet, unfortunately, but hopefully we'll be there soon enough.
Yeah.
And Jax, was there any more ground images from the build site that you wanted to look at?
I'm not sure. I think that was actually, can we go to the low bay quickly?
Yeah.
Just outside of the low bay with ship 29.
Aerial or
ground, please. I don't know if there's another angle that shows the flap hinges better.
Let's see. I think that might be the only other.
Here, I'll see if I can find it.
This one?
Yeah, that works. So, 1 second, please.
One.
You know what?
I think this one from the side shows it as well too. Here we go.
Yeah, so they've been working on that hinge hardwire. Sorry, I'm just a bit distracted for a second. Give me a couple seconds.
That's fine. I don't think there's any other angles of that one. So searching. I think that is the only thing I have. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure anything about this one, and I actually haven't seen any of the old designs on these ones. I've actually been thinking that these look different than they have in the past, so I don't know if they've swapped these out for a new type of mount or not.
So what they've done was not necessarily swapped it out. They've just been developing it. So you can see that there's this diddle that's sticking out of the flat mount just below that. So that's the actuator portion, and those weren't there. And so that's where a forward flap would attach. Now, if a nose cone doesn't have tiles and it has flat mounts, like actual properly developed flat mounts, something that ship 26 and 27 don't have, why would it have that? And the answer is because I don't think it's going to fly. I just posted our tweet thread on Ring Watchers, which is why I was distracted. And that's why we think this is going to go in the nose cone cage. That's where the white flap pieces could attach that act as forward flaps.
So, wait. Are you saying for the test structure?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this piece right here is not normally on there.
Well, it's on there if it has flaps, but I mean, this thing doesn't have pins. It doesn't have tiles. If it doesn't have tiles, it doesn't need flaps because it's burning up long before it needs those. So I think to me that is confirmation beyond a reasonable doubt, but I'm open to debating it.
Wow. Yeah. I wouldn't know any better, but I mean, it sucks that I mean, as long as they're using these and it's getting progress done, you know, I mean, like you need a test structure, you got one. So hopefully that is the case. That I just get distracted thinking about starships because I like every time I think about them, I'm like, can you just launch it? That's why I usually don't like to talk about them. But I think that may have been the last thing over at the build site. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on over at?
I think we're good to move on.
Okay, cool. I don't think there's anything new over at this site, and I'm going to actually take a look at that from the aerial view as well, too, just so we can confirm that, and then we will probably hop over to the build site. But yeah, other than a few more AC units in here, I don't think anything else has really changed. Everything else is pretty much the same back here. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop over to the build site. Actually, hold on. We're going to need to check one more thing. I wanted to see how these are doing back here, if they've expanded this or not. I wonder if they number these like Airstream Park 2 and 3, and then you have the other one. Actually, there's
they're actually given names. I can't remember what they all are, but each park
really?
has a Martian-based something name.
Oh, it looks like they're gonna have a install a third row of them here soon. And then obviously these smaller homes back here. Man, they're not playing around with getting all this housing done. I think these ones have taken kind of a long time though, but I think it might just be because of how wet the ground is. And it looks like they'll start 2 more down here as well soon too. So lots more living space for their employees, which is nice because they are definitely still hiring a ton of people down here. So that's cool to see that they're expanding this equally as rapidly. Wow, I've been noticing these cable reels everywhere. Any idea what that's about, David? Dave, are these?
That might actually be the first of the underground power wiring starting to actually show up and get ready to be pulled.
So yeah, they've laid the conduit. They've laid the actual conduit for it, right? But they haven't actually ran any of the.
Awful lot of that conduit, the vaults appear to be completely empty. So this would be very likely. Now that they have enough conduit in place, that they can actually put a grid, put a system in, they can actually start hooking it up.
And this will be for the entire site, right? From the
So,
build site all the way to launch
they've
site.
got open conduit from Sanchez to launch.
That is going to be quite the operation. I don't know if they had. I thought I saw more of it over here as well too. No, it's just down there. Yeah, I mean that's going to be quite the job to do. I'm seeing all these. Or actually, those are drainage, but all of these conduit boxes right here are open. So yeah,
We did miss something at the build site, maybe Mauricio's help. Where were those pallets of solar cells?
oh,
They
good
were
point.
right in front of I think the Star Factory. But yeah, you guys can
Ground photo.
ground photo. That's gonna be.
Let's see if I can find that one.
Nope.
In front of the Star Factory?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of black pallets stacked too high. Nope.
Not far enough over. I do not see that one. This is the only other angle where you can see the front of the Star Factory.
It would be on the opposite side.
It'd be
Oh,
on It'd be on the shipping and receiving side.
and that's not far enough over. I do not see it. Maybe I'm missing that image. But I can explain kind of while I'm looking for it. So we saw a pallet full of.
So we saw a pallet of looks like almost like shelving units, black shelving units, and they were labeled Q-cell. And we did some digging, and they are quantum cell, industrial grade solar panels, and lots of them.
I do not see that picture.
So there is a supposition that there is a good chance that they might be putting solar cells on the roof of Star Factory.
I might have to give up. I can't find it. But yeah, there was.
But there were like
Tons of
20
pallets.
pallets of them, and they were like 4 by 8 foot panels of solar cells.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. Not able to find that image. I've searched multiple times back and forth through there, but to no avail. So we may have to bring that one up later if Mauricio is able to find it, possibly.
Yeah,
If not,
I found
we will.
it. I'll send it over like in about 30 seconds.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Mauricio.
Sounds like you got some angry children in there too. So we'll let you take care of whatever you got to do. And in the meantime, we will go ahead and move over to the launch site. So we'll start with the suborbital test stand, which is really awesome because Mauricio happened to get there a few minutes after the actual static fire. So this is really cool. Seeing, obviously, it would have been nice to get the static fire, but it is also really cool to just see the aftermath of it. So, number one, this is really awesome being able to see the Raptor chill vents that they set up right here. So there's one connected to this side of the ship, and then there's another one right there. You can see it all frosted up, and I'll actually swap over to a better angle of that. And yeah, this is literally liquid oxygen on the ground right here, which we've never actually been able to see the liquid form of it and know for sure that that's what it is, because usually there's a vapor cloud coming off of it. But yeah, you can actually see the blue liquid.
In the past, it's also been vented from high up on the side of the starship, and now
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
right down to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this basically, in my opinion, I was hoping this was going to be further away, that it wouldn't be so close to the base of the test stand. But the good news is that because it's coming out as liquid, it's going to just go straight down into this area, kind of same thing as what the water does. However, the only thing they have to worry about is the wind blowing it back up underneath here, which is kind of the purpose of why they're doing it, is to not have all of that oxygen gas up underneath the skirt. But by draining it on the ground like that, it appears to do a much better job than without it. So this was actually really cool for me to see. One of the things I was looking for, and I believe it was an RVAC. Well, actually, we don't know. Do we know if it was an RVAC or a? Because it should have been the RVAC that they tested because of having to swap out that engine.
They swapped out the dented center engine.
Oh yeah, it was okay. It was
Yeah.
the dented center engine. Look at that.
There's a char mark.
I don't know if that's a char mark or a crater.
Well, it could be a charred crater. I mean, it's hard to tell the 3 dimensions at that resolution.
Every angle I look from, well, this one, I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Let's try.
If you
No.
pull up one of the ground shots, I didn't notice anything resembling a crater from the ground shots. Maybe you can take a look at those too.
Yeah, I will. I'll pull in a ground shot, some ground shots right now. We'll go ahead and swap over to those and see if we can find it.
And Mauricio put the solar cells in live comp.
All right. Let me pull those up really quick, actually, then. Man, I had this image. So yeah, you can see outside of this building there are stacks and stacks of these. I really want to know exactly how many there are, so we're just gonna count. I just want to know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I think last time we checked, these had 19 panels on them, so let's just verify. Way more than 19. No! Oh my
Your
God.
mouse just won the battle.
I give up. I'll count them later. I really wanted to just multiply these out so we can get a idea of what kind of square footage this is. Let's restart the count because this is good to know because then we can basically determine because I think these are 4 feet by 8 feet possibly, Dave. 4 feet by 6 feet.
If they're the ones I think there are, they're 4 by 8.
Okay, so nobody say anything. All right. $32?
32 is what I get.
Okay, 32 times
Maybe 31. I'm not sure if the top one's a real one or a spacer. It looks like 32. Nope, call it 32.
32 times, I forget how many of them I said there were, 18.
And they're like 500 watts a panel.
So yeah, we'll calculate that square footage, but that sounds like a lot. And I mean, I don't think it's enough, obviously, for that whole section of the building, but it's probably enough to build an S and part of a P. So if they're gonna throw the SpaceX logo on the top of this building like they did with the Tesla
Are they going to do
factory.
S and P, or are they going to do a huge X?
Oh man, I feel like they should put the whole SpaceX. I mean, just one X, I guess, with an oval around it or something like that could be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean that's going to be exciting to actually see where these end up. There's really nowhere else for them to go. They have to go on top of the Star Factory. So I think that'll make a lot of people happy because we've been waiting to see like if they would do that because it's such a large building. I am surprised that, or maybe would expect to see this happen in Florida first, as far as when they actually start to install these. But really quickly, let's just return back to the Star Factory because I want to see if there's actually any brackets on the roof right now if they're starting to do any of that.
My experience from watching Giga Texas is all the brackets show up in one wood crate and get craned down to the roof like the
On
day
time.
they start putting the panels up.
These were they not here in this image? They should be. What? Like the perception's all off right now. I can't see where they should be at. So you were standing over here looking this way, right?
I was a little bit more down
This way?
south, down north. Yeah,
So they should be.
they're over on the. They were on the ground, not on the concrete.
Right here?
So, nope. I don't think they were there. I think they must have delivered them.
No. These are them right here.
Oh yeah, it is.
Whoa.
That's lots more than 16.
Holy crap. Okay. The entire Star Factory is going to be covered in solar cells. We're just going to say that right now. Because that's a lot. We're going to count that later, but
There's about 26 stacks there.
wow.
Times 2. So that's 52 pallets of 32 each.
What's 52 times 32? Somebody got a calculator?
16,000-ish.
Jesus.
Call it
And
50 times
square
16.
footage?
Yeah.
Somebody do the whole square footage calculation because we got 4x8 panels, 16,000 square feet or 16,000 panels, 16,000 times whatever that square footage is. I'm not going to do the math. 32 square feet. Wait, no, yeah, 32 square feet.
Yep.
Times 16,000.
512,000.
1600. Yeah.
That's bigger than the whole Star Factory.
I think we got an extra zero in there somewhere. So 32 times 50 would be 16 times 100. 1,600, not 16,000.
1,600 square feet.
1,600 panels.
But what's the square footage?
So 1,600 times 32.
51,200.
That's still a lot of tile.
Oh, okay. And the whole building is like 480,000 square feet or something like that? Or
Yeah, I don't remember, but
400,000, something like that.
50,000 square foot of solar panel is a lot of panel.
Yeah, that's the whole roof, and that doesn't look like a logo then, I don't think. It'll probably be the entire roof if that's the case. So, wow, that's exciting. So yeah, sorry for that major rabbit hole because we were talking about the suborbital pads. So let's go ahead and move back there. One thing that we have noticed is that these little boxes keep showing up. So we showed these from the ground last week, and I think I have one this week as well too that I can briefly show you guys so you can see what they look like. Maybe I think. But they're basically boxes that have pipes on the inside of them. Like Dave, you could probably describe these a little better.
Well, I think the best way to think of them is they're actually closer to being bricks, like clay, solid clay things, and they have 8. I think it's 8 or 16 conduits in each one, and they clip together like Legos, and that gives you a direct burial already encased in concrete way of distributing power conduit.
Wow. So this is there's several major.
Yeah, so each one of these has 8 conduits. There's 2 side by side, and they're stacked 3 high.
Okay, and so this is the female side and male side. Female side, male side, right there, and they just.
And the male side has a gasket on it, and it just slides in like the cups and tips on a Lego, and they just slide together, and they're watertight or close to watertight.
I initially I thought that these were. This is all one piece, right?
Yeah, it's actually 4 pipes across and 2 pipes high is one piece. So there's 2
Okay,
pieces
so there's
side by
two next to
side.
each other.
If
Okay.
you look on the left, you'll see where they're not
Right
quite
here.
lined up. No, look, right there. You can see where they're not lined up.
Man, that's a lot. I'm really interested to see where these end up going. When we look at the aerial view again, there's just so many of them. And the thing is that this isn't even all of it. So they actually, they actually have been bringing some into the Sanchez site too. So when we look in the Sanchez site, there are about uh, 8 stacks of them right here. So I mean, they're everywhere. I think there's even some at Massey's.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is second generation power distribution for them.
What do you mean? Like,
Well, because they've already got a bunch of conduit and duct in the ground, running from all the way from Sanchez to the launch site. And I'm wondering if they're deciding they want a lot more power, and so they're going to put a parallel, bigger system in beside, beneath, on top of, I don't know, on the same paths. And some contractor or architect said, well, instead of doing PVC and burying it in gravel and concrete, why don't you try this product called Ready Duct and dig a trench and just start slamming these things in?
like it. The question is where they go, and we don't know that yet. I mean, do you think that's something that you would sit inside of a culvert?
I know. No, I think they're direct burial.
Okay.
I
So
think that culvert sections are probably for cryopipe.
right. So cryo pipes, and then they'll have conduit running alongside that for whatever this is for.
I think it's two separate things. I think we have cryo distribution going wherever it goes, and we have power distribution pretty much independent and may not even be in the same path.
Well, I would like to bring up an older image so we can look at how the launch site was originally constructed. And I believe I need to be in like July-ish, maybe, of 2021 in order to show this. So let me search for a quick.
You need to be back in ancient history somewhere. Yes.
Yeah, let me call Judy. He knows where it's at. 1 second. That's not far enough. I think July would maybe be where it is. Sorry, everybody. Stick with me here. I don't know if this will show it or not.
Well, we've got about a half hour left, so let's keep.
I'll give up on this one. But basically, what they did at the underneath the in between the bunker and the orbital pad was they basically built so they ran conduit from all the way along here over to the tower, and then on top of they filled all of that in with concrete, and then on top of that they put the culverts that ran
to the OLM.
to the OLM, and then the other one that ran to the tower. So
yeah,
they didn't exactly go side by side.
River of conduit in. I mean, there were just dozens and dozens of pipes going in different directions around the bunker, between the bunker and the other bunker towards the tanks. Yeah, it was all over the place.
Yeah. Whoa. What? How did I not notice that?
That's the new wall, and it has a T-stub on it to help support it. And what we haven't seen is a ground photo to tell us if it's going to have rebar coming out the top to go higher. The wall on the other side does have rebar and has not been extended up yet.
Wow. Okay. Well, what I was going to show was all the conduit coming out of the ground right here. I did not know that was there, but now
I think you were tied up when we were discussing this last night.
Yeah, interesting. Well, that'll be fun. The way that it will deflect.
And it's also interesting that it wraps around the leg. It doesn't tie into the leg. It's to the OLM side of the leg where it joins into the base.
Yeah. I'm guessing we have a good ground image of this, so I'm gonna go ahead and.
I don't know if we have that good a ground image of it. It's not in a convenient spot to get a good ground image of.
I think I might have gotten a different angle, but maybe not what you're looking for.
I mean, you got a good ground image of the wall on the drawwork side, but not on the dead end side, if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't think we're able to see that one right now. So,
There's a
yeah,
berm and a tank farm in the way.
yeah. I mean, you may there may be a yeah. I don't think you would be able to see it with the booster there. Like, I don't think you can see that that angle at all. Let's try and just look at a long distance version of that really quick so that we can see if there's actually a straight path to it or not. Because I do want to see that from the ground at some point. But yeah, you'd have to be like way over here, right up this alley in order to see it right in front of the gate. So maybe we'll get a good shot of that at some point. Um, but yeah, at least we know it's there. And let's go ahead and move back over to this orbital pad because that was a distraction. We're not even supposed to be on uh, the orbital pad yet because there's still some more stuff to cover over here. But we know that ship 24 had a successful static fire. There may or may not be a crater right there. I mean, we see it from so many different angles. I'm going to go ahead and say that's a crater. But that's fine because at least it's not like it looks like, for it being a crater, it doesn't look like there is a bunch of stuff broken out all over the place. It almost looks like it just pushed down a little, um, just a hole there. But I mean, I don't know if how they replace that. If it's simple as just like cutting out one little part instead of having to do the whole thing since the rest of it isn't damaged. But yeah, I don't know. It looks better than it did last time, but then again, it's only a single engine, so I guess that doesn't really say much.
Okay, I'm gonna do a short interrupt here. We're at half hour to go. We've got 780 people watching, and we only got 440 likes. Let's smash those thumbs up.
Yeah, come on, guys. um, well, I think we may be done with this orbital pad. Oh wow, okay, yeah, I forgot. There's even more of these bricks down here. So yeah, they got a lot. Um, and like I said, it'll be really interesting to see. I have a feeling that more than likely it's going to come from the base of the tower, and go all the way along this line and then go over to like whatever is going to be over here potentially because being able to control everything from the big power station instead of or the big control center instead of this building makes a lot more sense in my opinion. And just with the total length of it that they have, like it kind of seems like they're going to be. I mean, I really think there's going to be a suborbital pad right here, possibly. Or, well, there's lots of theories. Actually, something that Mauser pointed out the other day is that if you look at the aerials of Pad 39A, where the big, well, water or LOX tank, whatever it is in this exact position. So that could be interesting. Um, just playing devil's advocate, if the tank um, at Pad 39A is a water tank, and let's say they put one right here, then that could be a sign of future water deluge, possibly once they get approval to do so. And I personally think that after the first launch, that a lot of things are going to change for SpaceX, and they'll probably start working on getting approval for the second tower out here, even though they say they're not going to do that. I think they will, and I wouldn't be surprised if they also get approval for water deluge at that point. And if that's the case, um, they may need a taller source for their water or whatever, and also closer to the tower because um, it's going to be really difficult to add that system in here. I mean, there's no way they're going to get pipes that large down here. Well, um, all right, I take that back. So let's look at something else really quick. Um, I highly doubt that's what this is for, but we're going to take a look at this. So we're going to move on to the orbital tank farm. And one thing that I've noticed out here is that if we look from this angle, Actually, hold up. I'm going to show us the older image first. If I could find it. Here we go. So here's the previous week's image. Actually, this isn't the one I want. Let's see. Maybe this one. Yeah. Oh, if you guys look down in this area, number one, you can see that they still had the scaffolding up about this image is actually from 2 weeks ago. So you could see that they still had the scaffolding around the water tank, and that's gone. And also this area right here, just in general, pay attention to what that looks like right now. And let's take a look at what it looks like today. So they have all these pipe racks that they've been adding in here. And I'm wondering if, I mean, well, there's a lot of things that can happen here. So, number one, for some reason, they may want to lift the water pipes up onto those racks for some reason. The only reason I even suggest that is because of the way that this one is wider and it looks like it would support this one. It would be really weird to change that over. I don't see a reason to do that. But the problem is that it comes all the way over to here. And well, Jack's kind of destroyed this opinion for me. But one possibility that I was thinking, and let's take a look at it from another side really quick. So you can see that it comes around and ends right here. I don't know if there will be more of them soon, but I don't see any, but it ends at this tank right here. So I think that there is a small possibility, and I'll say super small because it would require a ridiculous amount of work, and I don't even know if it's possible. But theoretically, with this other water tank being completed, like if I mean all of the scaffolding has been removed, so scaffolding's gone. Theoretically, they've repaired it, maybe if that was even possible. And if they have repaired it, then they could return to using this for water, and that would then allow them to use these tanks again. The problem with that is, and this is something that Jax pointed out to me, is that this is what the inside of the BN 2.1 test tank looked like after it was cut in half. And so this was one of the tanks that they used to one of the test tanks that they actually used water in that test. And you can see that the inside looks all corroded and whatnot. Obviously, it's stainless steel, so there, in my opinion, it should be relatively easy to clean off. But I mean, that's more than likely what the entire inside of those water tanks look like, depending on how high they've been filling them. And it is possible that because they both drain and fill from the bottom, it's possible that there may not be as much cleaning to do inside of there as we would maybe think. So, with that being said, I would not be surprised if they switched one of these over to liquid oxygen and switched the other one over to liquid nitrogen, because that would give them 1, 2, 3, 4 LOX tanks and 3 nitrogen tanks. And that just reduces the amount of constant filling that they have to do. They have more reserves if they do that. And in my opinion, they have way too much methane storage. So it only makes sense to increase the LOX storage to match how much methane they have, because I think this is like 1.5 launches worth of methane, in my opinion. I haven't done the math because I don't do that when I'm not at work, but I think that this is a lot more methane storage than what was just in these two. I refuse to believe that this is less than that. So if that is the case, it would be interesting. And I've said this from the beginning that I thought these were going to be converted after the first orbital test flight. So I'll say that again. I don't think this is an immediate change. So yes, it does look like they're about to do something really big and really weird. I mean, if you just look at this right here, the way that it goes straight across, this looks like they're about to join that with the other locks line. So I'm pretty positive one of these will become a LOX tank, if not both of them. But also, like I said, increasing your nitrogen storage is really good as well because, um, well, you lose a lot of nitrogen during the fuel loading process because it's just boiling off. Most of your liquid oxygen, most of your methane can be recovered, but the nitrogen can't. So having an extra nitrogen tank would be nice, because it just means less downtime in between launches. So yeah, let's be on the lookout for that. I mean, it will be interesting if it happens. All it is just reattaching this to um, this water tank and switching this back over to that water tank as well too, and then running those cryo tubes on the top of this. So uh, I really hope that it does not happen before the first orbital test flight, because if it does happen, then that means we're in for a little bit of a delay. They did add in that water line relatively quickly when they swapped this over. So I don't know, maybe there's hope that it wouldn't take that long to actually switch it over, but the internal cleaning of this tank would be a whole nother story. And while they're doing that changeover, unless they change this over first, like they absolutely have to have water in order to do any testing at all. So they would have to first switch over to this, drain these out, clean the inside of them super thoroughly because you don't want corrosion on the inside of the tanks when you're putting an oxidizer in there. So yeah, I really think that's what we're about to see out here. But fingers crossed that it doesn't happen until after the first flight test. But they're taking ripping certain things up out here. Like all of these are off now. Something weird is definitely going to happen back here. I'm nervous. They also have all of this scaffolding up around this tank, which is really odd because all of this is already insulated. So kind of curious what they're doing there. Um, and beyond that, I think that maybe most of the changes inside of the tank farm. And to some degree, I think it's sad that there are still changes happening within the tank farm. But I guess if we just treat this like a starship or booster, then we should always expect it to continually change. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see that. In my opinion, that's one of the biggest updates for this week. But let's continue on to the launch site, or sorry, the launch pad. But before we do that, Indy, did we have any questions? I'm sure that we have tons of donations that we haven't covered yet. So let's. I want to give you a second to do that, and I can also take a breath.
Sure. We actually do have lots of questions and lots of donations. So we'll start off with the donations. We want to thank Peanut for donating. Well, it's actually Peen what? For donating $10. And he says, sorry he's late. Then Conrad Gresset donated $25. Thank you so much. Joey Bag of Donuts came in with $40 and he said it's to cover y'all's blue check marks for the month. Yay! Us on Twitter, blue check mark. Woohoo!
I lost mine.
Well, now you can get it back because you just have to buy it.
I don't think you
Mistletoe
can.
Prophet came in with $40 as well. Says 40 for fuel. Keep flying, Mauricio. So yay, Mauricio, more airtime. Then we have a new member to our RGV aerial team, and that's Scott Stubbs. He just became a member. Welcome to the team, sir. We also have donations from $2 from Jim Cavett saying, wow, that was a fast 3 hours. Yes, sir, it was, although Zach might have something different to say about that. Another $2 donation from Boss Hog, and he's donating for or she is donating for Mars Fund. Yazato with $10 says, thanks to Mauricio and commentators for making this all possible. And then we have a super sticker from our friend Scat1975 who donated £5 along with that sticker. And then we have a bunch of questions. So I can start with
Yeah,
the
let's take a few.
questions. Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First question about where we are. There's a question about from Agent Plasma Time, what's the pipe going around the ship on the top of Pad B?
Let's see. I think we may need a ground shot for this.
No, I think it showed up in the aerial shot next to the lock stump line. It's that white line right underneath the man lift.
On A or B?
Test MB.
Okay, let me move back.
So if we go back to the picture we had from the static fire, when you could see the dump lines, there's a second. Yep, that one right there.
These are more than likely the conduit for the new cameras, if I had to guess. So there's new cameras underneath here. Let's actually swap over to the ground because that will be able to show it better. So the cameras are now down here. Oh, wow. Look at that. I'm guessing man, that explains what they've been doing down here. So I think they did, possibly, and maybe I need to look at an older image. No, I don't think they cut into the steel. I don't know if this was two separate pieces of steel here, but the conduit now goes underneath here, so it's a little bit more protected. And the cameras, I don't even know how these attach. Let's see if we can find a better image of those. This may not be close enough, but yeah, that'll do it. So you can see how the new camera mounts are on here, and I mean, these ones survived, but that wasn't a 6-engine static fire, so can't really say for sure how well they performed. Here's an even better view, but it's alive. And this is a special housing. I mean, this is actually welded onto the test stand.
That looks like a SpaceX ground system special pipe welded housing. It does not look like a commercial housing.
Yeah, this is handmade, and he'll probably put another one, like something special over this as well too, just to cover that up, because this is usually the failure point where it actually rips away from down here. Because this is the most unprotected part of all of that. Speaking of that, check out the damage from just a single static fire, though. Single engine, I mean, sorry. Matter of fact, I think we should probably compare this to image from last week, and I'll look for one while you're asked the next question, Indy.
So we just received a donation from Credence for $19.99, and he says, in the theme of my silly comment, but wait, there's more, all for the low, low price of, and donated $19.99 for Under the Tree. Thank you, Credence. The next question is from Mr. Craneman. Oops, excuse me. It's from Craneman asking, why would the water tower have a double hull? And are the brackets on the water tank for speakers of the PA system that they have removed from the slender white tank? So
Well,
just jump around, sorry.
so the double hole, I mean, like I get that, you know, some people doesn't think it makes sense to have a double hole, and yeah, it kind of doesn't. But if you think about it, the water tanks currently are double holed. Obviously, that's not what they originally wanted, but it worked out better that way because they put external stringers on them, which they don't have on these. So it is possible that you want like two shells or a shell over it, but I'm not committed to it being a water tank, but I also don't shut down ideas and just say that that's not possible, because that's how you end up getting surprised by SpaceX. So I keep all the options open at all times.
Fair enough. One more question before you carry on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Stephen Loffrey is asking, why are the covers for the tower legs so piecemeal? More protection from the zombie apocalypse than rocket exhaust?
Well, these are really large pieces in general. This launch mount is extremely tall, so first of all, making a solid panel that big is not really feasible because they come in basically sheets like this.
So
So
we're
they
looking
don't
at
really have.
pad B.
We're still
Oh,
looking at pad B.
sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. My bad. And that's still the wrong one. But I did want to compare last week, so I'll show this first. So this is last week, I believe. And you can see that, yeah, they are piecemeal together, but that's just the size of these panels. I mean, this is nearly a full panel right here. That's how they come, how the steel panels come. Matter of fact, even better would just be to show you guys the stack of where these came from. If you guys have been watching the show for a while, then you will probably remember that I said that all of this steel right here that was on these racks and on the ground was going to be used as launch mount shielding, and now all of that steel is gone and it's all on the launch mount. So looking at the ground image one more time, as far as, I mean, it looks bad right now, but once they paint it, it'll look better for a while until it gets burnt off again. But yeah, I mean, this is just the current look until they finish that. And let me actually show what it looks like this week. Now that oops. Yeah. So right now it looks like they have got doors, the remaining doors over. I think this was the only missing one last time. But these are bolted on, so that it allows them to actually like access them later. So if for some reason they need to access the pipes that are inside of here, obviously they may potentially have to cut off one of these whole panels, but theoretically they could.
Well, the other thing to look at is they've added these large square tube stiffeners on every weld.
On these ones?
Yep. If you go back to last week's, those weren't there. Those were welded. Those are added on top of each weld, each horizontal weld.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Probably to keep them from bowing.
Right, because they're going to get really hot. So yeah, that makes sense. I actually would not be surprised to see them right here, but there is a support underneath as well too. So it's like basically there's a bracket underneath and then there's one on top. I may actually be able to pull up an older image, but I think you can see the line where the bracket underneath is. But yeah, once they paint these, it'll look a lot better. But they do need to be able to maintain access to what's inside of there to some degree. They don't have to do that on the other side. Okay, let's see. On the front side, these ones look a little bit different. Honestly, they almost look like you could attach a staircase to them so that you could climb up it. Wait, these ones don't have hinges, do they?
No.
I don't think so.
No,
Yeah,
but this is over the conduit, so this is lighter weight.
yeah. So these ones are weird just because they have different like almost like handles on them. I'm not really sure why, but
They're basically like a Z-girt, just stiffener, so they're not flexing.
right. That makes sense.
Okay, if you get a chance, can we get to the aerial of under the launch table?
Yes, we will do that. But once
we've got 10 minutes. I'm
going to touch on these really quick, and then we'll end with that. So next to the berm, actually, you guys can see that they have taken the scaffold or not scaffolding, the framework off of this side. I think they may have done that last week as well too, but now they have this set up on the other side. And Dave, one thing I wanted to ask really quick: are these actually for drainage, or is this having anything to do with how these are mounted?
No, I'm sure those are just weeps. Yeah, I'm sure those are just drain lines because that's a dirt berm underneath there, and you don't want water to get trapped.
But they're not sliding, like they're not using. Okay.
Nope. I'm sure the work platform, they just double head nailed it right into the concrete.
Well, in front of that, you guys can see that the drain pipe for the cryo station has a bunch of concrete formwork around it and a ton of rebar sticking out of it, which is really interesting. And if we look at that from the aerial view, let's see. I think this is probably a good shot of it. Let me swap us over. So from the aerial view, you can see that, actually, I'm going to get one like right overhead. There's a good one right here. Yeah, so this is basically looking straight down into it. You can see the pipe inside of the where all of the rebar is. So that's a lot of concrete that they're going to have to pour in there to cover that up. But that basically runs all the way over to this shield right here. So it completely protects everything that's related to the cryo station. I have a wall on this side as well too. This wall right here that protects all of this stuff back here. And Booster 7 is sitting on this right now. I believe they had to switch out the pads around here, and these are the new pads that go on top of this in between the actual transport stand and the ground. I think it's just like uh, an not like I want to call it an offset, but almost like a gasket in between the two of them. But I can't really tell what these are made out of. But yeah, so you can see that the extended wall is going to go all the way around here. And then they'll probably have this filled in by next flyover. And now we can move over to the star of the day, the launch mount. So let's do that. Man, what isn't going on here? So you guys can see something that we were not able to see last time, which is the formwork underneath the launch mount. So we don't know, we truly don't know if this is what they did last time before the 11 engine static fire. So it is possible that this is theoretically going to be an improvement on what they did before. And I actually haven't gone back to check myself to see how many of those Fondag bags they used, or if they truly even used them the first time, but I believe that they did. So, you know, what everybody always says, I can predict the comments, why don't they put a steel plate? We don't know. Why don't they put a flame diverter? Because if they did, they wouldn't be able to use this work platform. And yes, that is the work platform underneath there. We'll talk about the rest of this later. But yeah, you can't put a raised surface down here because then you lose your ability to access the work platform. And you also can't dig a trench for the same reason. So, and yeah, the water table is super low. So yeah, I mean, right now, you know, Booster 7 does a static fire, it goes back and it gets all the stuff installed on it. And in between then, they replace the concrete. And if that's what it takes every time for now, then I don't see that as being a problem, because as long as nothing is getting damaged by that shrapnel, that's really all that matters, in my opinion. Replacing this concrete every single time probably sucks, but I just don't see that as being a major issue. It's just a consumable, a very expensive consumable probably, but at least they're able to you know, do this without actually destroying everything. You know what I mean? So it could be worse, but what you're seeing down here, in my opinion, is actually very similar to what we saw when they were building the berm behind suborbital pad A. And that is basically you form out, you use the concrete forms in order to create a shape, fill that in first. So they'll fill in all of these, probably the middle one as well too. And then they'll remove the concrete forms, or sorry, remove the wooden forms, or if these may be steel actually, we're not really sure. I think they're just wood, but Philakid thinks they might be steel. So they'll remove the formwork, and then the concrete becomes the form for the next part. So you may have to put one piece of wood right here, which is probably what this one's for. Once they're done pouring that, then you just put one piece of wood over here, and that frames up this entire spot. And then the hex on the outside is the formwork for all the stuff in the center ring of 13. So Yeah.
So interesting. If he had another shot, I believe there are only 5 petals in that form. It's a pentagon, not a hexagon.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep. They don't match up with the legs.
Yeah, I don't think they need to,
They
because
don't. It's just interesting because it's going to be 10 wedges.
I don't even think that we'll notice, because I truly believe that they did this last time. And let's go ahead and look at what it looked like previously. Yeah, you can see it right here. There's a wedgie. See if I can see it from another angle. You can't see it as well from this angle, but I believe this is one right here. Matter of fact, that if you look at this and then look at the new one, it lines up pretty much perfectly. So I do believe that they constructed this the exact same way last time. They just are gonna have to do it again. And unless Dave has something to say about it, I feel like we're gonna have to skip questions related to material science, because I personally don't think this is a problem, and I've had lots of people DM me on Twitter, so this is why I'm just saying this right now. The reason I don't talk about this is because I don't think it's an issue, and I don't think they think it's an issue. It's just a consumable, kind of like the paint. It just sucks, and I do think that at some point there will possibly be. I'm a believer that they will put a real water deluge system here at some point. So all they got to do is make it through the first few flights until they're able to do that. They may even have to build a second tower first and then retrofit this one. But yeah, I mean, I do expect them to make this the exact same as the other one to some degree, because they already are. They already are doing that with the base of the tower. They're making it exactly like the other one. They can't replace. The only thing they can't make the same is this portion right here, because this was actually this is done in concrete on the new tower instead of steel. And one other big thing that I think is going on right now, which is something we're going to need some ground images for.
I guess a real quick question before, that could possibly be answered right away. There was a question by Tracy Mason. The question was, why don't they use heat towels on or around the launch mount or underneath?
Well,
For the,
if you saw the Ship 24 7-engine or 6-engine static fire, like, I don't think tiles are made to stand up against direct contact with, like, yeah, they
Correct.
can take the heat, but they can't take the force. Those tiles can't take one of these things bumping against it without cracking. There's no way they're going to take 500,000 pounds of force times 33. So
For all of those of us who have walked out into the mud flats and found pieces of heat tile, they are fragile. They are really fragile.
I'm actually holding one in my hand right now, trying not to break it. So yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, they're just not meant for that purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So one quick thing to add before we talk about the top of this is that
We are at 3 hours and change.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll go a little bit over. I'm sure people won't mind. We'll go like 5 or 10 minutes over really quick. I'll just cycle through things fast. But you guys can see that they have holes on the side of these, like they're waiting for more panels. And those panels are right here. So I do believe that we will see these installed before the next static fire attempt. So definitely be on the lookout for those. One other thing that they're clearly doing right now is potentially aligning the clamps again. And this is something that I don't think was fully completed before. So I think before they put Booster 7 on here last time that they were in the process of doing it, and they did not finish. I think they did about 3 or 4 of them. I watched them do. But I don't think they actually finished, and I believe they could theoretically potentially be re-leveling them right now. The part of the reason I say that is because last time, this is a different testing structure, I think, and last time it was held up using a crane, and this time it's self-supporting, so there's a chain, ratchet straps back here, or chain hoist, whatever you want to call them, and it's just pulled tight to the point where this is suspended. And this is just a chain right here. I don't see the actual cable coming off the top of this where they actually have the data connection. I think this is a completely different test structure, and it's only to allow these to be pulled up until they're contacting it, possibly. Could be wrong, but that's just my opinion on that. But one other important thing to note here is that this Raptor, or the maintenance stand, or BART as it's called in the Lab Padre community, is stuck up here until they get this done. So yeah, waiting on tons of things for them to actually be able to bring out Booster 7. I think it's possible that Booster 7's ready, honestly, and that they're waiting for the launch mount. And with that being said, one more thing that I did want to touch on before we end the day is this manifold that they've added onto the side of the launch mount, because this is, oh man. So I did post about this on Twitter, but I do want to re-mention it right now. They got a long way to go on this right here. They've added this right here is called the fill drain valve pilot pneumatic system. So they've only hooked up 2 of the things onto this manifold, and these basically control the valves. So you can see these 2. Whoa. Okay, sorry, this is going around the backside. I thought there was 3 coming here. So there's these are basically double acting valves. So you have 2 chambers on it, I believe. Wait, yeah, they're dual chambered, right, Dave?
They may or may not be. They could be spring loaded, or they could be single acting or double acting. It depends on which actuator they put on it.
Right. So this control panel activates this valve, and that's not the only one. There's one directly underneath it, which is insane because it's tucked back. You can't even see the actual motor. And same thing with this one right here. So there used to be a valve right here, which basically opened and closed the bleed off vent. But now, wait, what? Oh wow. Okay, I'm a little confused here now. I thought that this valve back here was for the bleed off, but it looks like there's a double isolation valve. So this is a valve right here and another one right there for the main lock supply. You have to look at that.
That means they could bleed the line from either end and not affect the other side.
Right. I just don't. Okay, yeah, I guess that does make sense. But these valves clearly weren't here before. And like I said on Twitter, I always found that weird because the only other valve in this entire system is on the back side of the QD. And so that is the only way to isolate everything inside of these pipes all the way back to the bunker. There was no way to like shut this in other than the BQD. So if the connection on here gets compromised, then you have just a leak and you can't do anything about it until it stops leaking, or the entire content of here gets vaporized and exits out of the leak, or you literally push it out using nitrogen. So yeah, they've added that valve. They've added something right here and a double recirculation for the methane side. This is like this is going from the main methane up to the bleed line right here. And then there's another one that does the same thing, but it's smaller. So no idea what that's about. Yeah, I don't get it. It almost looks like it does a full loop right here, but I can't understand why they would ever need that. Obviously, there's going to be something else attached right here soon, but we don't know what that is. Initially, I thought that could be a basket strainer, but I don't think that's what that is.
If anything, I think that might be another valve controller.
Yeah, that would make sense. Oh, wait. Are you saying this is a valve?
I'm wondering. I mean, it's it's equivalent of the valve that's on the lower one.
This? What you mean
No,
this right here?
the vertical pipe and the black valve actuator on the skinny methane pipe.
Well, this one has a round flange instead of a.
Yeah, but different size valve.
And there's another one. There's another one right here, which appears to be capped off. So I feel like there may be big sensors here, or they may be diverting that flow somewhere else, which would be interesting. I've actually been looking for something like that, but just on the oxygen side. So we'll have to keep an eye to see what they end up doing with that. Oh wow. Okay, so I just realized if you close this right here, and this is something that if you guys haven't watched my last episode, most recent part 2 episode, a lot of people have asked me like, what are they doing with the Center 13? Because I did allude to it, but didn't actually answer. And that's because I don't know. The reason I initially thought that it could come out of the booster QD, routed through the booster QD, would be because they would just use this vent to purge the Raptor chill venting from the Center 13 engines. But the problem with doing that was the fact that there was no valve back here, which means potentially you'd be sending, if my theory is correct, trace amounts of methane backwards through here. So now with this valve here, they could close this valve and theoretically vent the Raptor chill venting from the Center 13 engines outside of here. And I wish I would have seen them do this before I released that episode. But that is why I didn't answer that question in the episode, is because I didn't think it was possible to, if all of my theories were correct, then it wouldn't work without a valve being here, and now there is a valve. So I don't know. We'll have to see when they finally finish all this stuff if that's, and actually during the first during the you know what? There's a problem with that. The Raptor chill venting actually happens during the entire process of fueling. So that may not work unless there's another inlet to get to the actual vent or something. I can't see what this is actually doing anymore. But yeah, still a possibility. We will keep an eye out for that. But other than that, there's other stuff on the front side, not as important as this side, in my opinion. So I think we can leave it there. If we have more questions, we can take remaining questions, but we are 10 minutes over. So, Indy, maybe we'll just do super chats.
Yeah, we only have one donation to call out, which is a 10-pound donation from Stephen Lawfrey.
Oh, well, thank you, Stephen. We appreciate you. And we did not talk about Booster 9 at all, which is pretty impressive. Oh, one last thing, everybody. So these little Mickey Mouse ears that are on here, I've seen some people talk about these. We're not really sure what they're for. Max Q thinks there's a possibility that these are used to turn the entire or transport stand while it's in the mega bay. Like could be something in there that's rotating this. I think and hope that these have access that they can actually see the clamp from here, and they're able to mount pistons on either side of this, which would be major as far as hydraulics go. It would triple the amount of hydraulics that are on here. But to actually release the clamps automatically instead of manually, and that would drastically improve the amount of time that it takes to lift a booster off of, or to actually do the lifting procedure. Because like right now it takes like 3 hours before they even start the lift. And then one of the other major things that they've done is on the actual, oh man, can't see it. I don't know if there's a view where we can see this. On the actual booster QD itself, they no longer have the gigantic adapter plate that they have to switch off. I don't think we can see it from this angle. No. So there's a huge adapter plate that goes on the booster QD, and every time before. Wait, what is this? What? What is going on right now?
Yeah, it looks
Wow.
like he's working on the latches.
No. This is a booster QD. Oh, okay. I get it now. Maybe they don't need the adapter plate anymore because of this. This is the adapter plate. Except this is basically the same thing as the QD on the actual launch mount, except it's just it looks like it may just be attached directly to the booster QD, and then they attach the hoses to the back of it. I have not seen that before. I'm going off on a huge tangent. We're gonna have to talk about this later. That is pretty crazy. Maybe we can get one more angle of it. This is with the plate attached. No, this is before the plate's attached.
No, that is the plate.
This is the booster. This is the booster QD plate, and I believe that crane was about to lift the panel off the ground, more than likely. Yeah, we just can't see him do it until it's already up in the air. But yeah, I guess we just discovered something. Gonna have to look into that a little bit more later. But yeah, sorry everybody for that being all over the place. The ADHD kicked in pretty tough today. So with that being said, weird way to end the episode, but we want to say thank you to everybody for supporting the show today and every day. And hopefully you guys learned something new today. Thank you to everybody who donated, and thank you to Dave for joining us on the show. And also Jax. I think Jax left early, so thank you to Jax as well. And I'll pass it off to Dave.
And thank you to everybody, and love doing the show today. And we're running a little overtime, and just so everybody wants to flip channels, we are T-minus 15 minutes till Starlink launch.
Launch number 200.
And I will pass this off to Mauricio.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I want to thank everybody that donated, supported the commentators, Dave and Jax, Zach, Indian Star, and the production team as well. One thing I did want to talk about was next week's episode. I don't know. We've talked about it briefly in the production, but it might be before the holidays, and it's also going to be our 1-year anniversary since we started episode 1. So hopefully y'all can make it. And thank you very much. Pass this to Indian Star.
And along with that, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, season's greetings. If we don't talk to you, I'm sure we're going to talk to you next week, but if we don't, for whatever reason, we also want to wish you a Happy New Year. If you want to join the RGV team and join Discord, the RGV server in Discord, tomorrow there's going to be an event where we are going over some trivia, and we're going to look back on what we expected versus reality from 2022. So come join us in Discord at the RGV Aerial Photography server. We can put that link in the chat for everybody. And with that, I will also say goodbye and main engine.
One more thing.
Oh, never mind.
I'm going to throw the link for that episode in there. If you guys haven't seen part 2, check it out. And also make sure you guys watch that Starlink launch because it is number 200. So
also, man, I forgot. We're launching Starbase Weekly in Spanish, so I just want you to throw it out there for people that want to support. We might not get that many views, and it's going to be on a different YouTube channel. I'll probably post it here or on Twitter later on today. And yeah, wish us luck. We're going to start episode 1 in Spanish for Starbase Weekly.
Yeah, tomorrow. Post the link for Spaceflight now as well too. If you guys want to watch the Starlink launch, I will throw that in there for you guys, and you can join there. We'll see you over there.
And with that, we'll say main engine cutoff, stage separation confirmed. Love you guys. Bye.